What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 1 milliliter. Chapter 1. Orochimaru invades Konoha. Please give me flowers. Please give me collections. Please give me evaluation votes. It seems you haven't changed at all, Orochimaru. But you've become so weak, Sarutobi-sensei. In the war-torn Konoha village, at the center of the four purple flame formation, Orochimaru and Sarutobi Hiruzen stood opposite each other. As a breeze suddenly blew by, the figures of the two people began to move. I saw third generation running towards Orochimaru quickly, and began to form seals quickly with both hands. Ninpo technique. Tile shuriken technique. As the chakra was mobilized, the tiles on the roof floated and flew towards Orochimaru like bullets. Orochimaru said with a ferocious smile, too naive. Then the whole person flew into the air, opened his mouth while avoiding the tiles, and the next second, his tongue turned into a giant python and went straight to bite third generation's neck. Third generation saw the trick and used the Earth-style body replacement technique to dodge Orochimaru's attack, and then used the escape technique to bomb Orochimaru. For a while, Orochimaru was unable to fight back. As expected of third generation Sama, you can still use such ninjutsu at your age. Well, Mr. Third Generation's sword is indeed still young. The Anbu commentary team outside the battlefield began to boast, and it felt like they were popping champagne at halftime. Orochimaru in the field also put away his contempt early and sighed in his heart. He is worthy of being a ninja doctor. The gorgeous and solid 5-release ninjutsu is quite difficult for him as a Sannin. But this also made him understand that the situation cannot be delayed any longer. The two of them were moving one at a time, and their superb physical skills and gorgeous ninjutsu burst out simultaneously, creating an inseparable situation. As the battle raged on, third generation's offensive did not slow down at all. He threw a few shurikens at Orochimaru, and then began to quickly form seals with his hands. Ninjutsu Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique. The original few shurikens multiplied in an instant, and soon turned into hundreds of shurikens. Facing the dense shurikens like rain, Orochimaru showed no panic at all. He pressed his hands to the ground and performed a summoning technique. Summoning Reanimation Jutsu. As Orochimaru slapped the ground, two coffins rose up from the ground one after another with vibrations. 1, 2. The rising coffin withstood the attack of the shuriken rain. Looking at this scene, third generation's expression quickly became ugly. He naturally knows what kind of ninjutsu Orochimaru performs, so he also naturally knows how terrifying this jutsu is. Third generation's face paled, and he shouted angrily at Orochimaru, "You actually used this technique. I won't show mercy just because you are old." Orochimaru looked at third generation's face and started talking trash. Taking advantage of the conversation, third generation looked at the marks on the coffin, which had the words, "First," and "2," written on them. Seeing this, the third Hokage felt a lot of pressure, but they still felt that they could handle it. But with Orochimaru's next move, the third generation suddenly became uneasy. 3. As the characters jumped out of Orochimaru's mouth, a third coffin rose from the ground, and on this third coffin, the word, Xiao, was written. Not good. When they saw the coffin with the word, Xiao, on it, third generation secretly thought something was wrong. With a clap of his hands, he was going to guide chakra to suppress the coffin with the word, Xiao. Chapter 2. Impure World Reincarnation. Uchiha Xiao. Please give me flowers. Please give me a review vote. Please give me a collection. However, perhaps due to old age and inability, the third coffin finally broke free from the shackles of the third generation chakra and rose from the ground in an instant. Looking at the word, Xiao, even with the mentality of an old man, third generation still showed a look of despair at this moment. Sarutobi-sensei, you are old after all. Orochimaru looked at the dying third generation of heroes, with an inexplicable light shining in his eyes. Third generation said nothing. He stared at the three coffins that crashed to the ground. When the dust dispersed, what came into view were three familiar figures. First generation, second generation, and then, he stared at the person who was finally summoned. It was a handsome young man, wearing black light armor, with Uchiha's fan engraved on the back of the light armor. Third generation looked at the young man's appearance and thought something bad in his heart. Surprisingly, summoning him came out. The young man stepped out of the coffin, and in an instant, a terrifying power emanated from him. As for the Anbu group who were fishing on the sidelines, an older man also recognized the person who was finally summoned. Orochimaru. He actually got that person out. Even through the mask, the horrified tone could not be concealed. Who is that person? Several young Anbu asked in their minds. After a long while, the older Anbu finally spoke. Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha Xiao. Several Anbu searched their hearts and minds, but none of them recalled the character Uchiha Xiao. It's normal that you don't know him. Because of this man's special nature, the village had to hide his identity. So now, except for researchers, few people in the village know about Uchiha Xiao. The young Anbu put on a tell in detail posture, and the Anbu sighed lightly, and then said, "Forget it, you will know about him sooner or later." As the elder Anbu's words slowly unfolded, Uchiha Xiao's identity and deeds gradually emerged. Uchiha Xiao, a person from the late Sengoku period, was the strongest in the history of the Uchiha clan. He was a figure who could compete with Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara. At that time, he was still very famous. The most dangerous ninja in legend. Even the establishment of Konoha Shinobi Village was inseparable from Uchiha Xiao's participation. Even the conception of the Shinobi Village system, Uchiha Xiao also contributed a lot. For such a strong person, how did he die? The question was posed, but the senior Anbu did not answer immediately. The quiet atmosphere gradually dispersed, and everyone actually felt an emotion from this senior through the masks, which was an emotion called fear. At this time, senior Anbu spoke. He killed first Kazekage, first Raikage, first Tsuchikage, first Mizukage, and tens of thousands of ninja coalition forces. After severely damaging Shodai and Uchiha Madara. Die from exhaustion. Quote. As he finished speaking, Anbu fell into an eerie silence. Can't believe it. Use your own power to fight against the entire ninja world, and even severely damage the legendary ninja god. Such a record would not even be written in a novel. Although they dare not say it openly, several young Anbu have deep suspicions. The elder Anbu saw this scene and did not refute anything, but continued. I couldn't believe it when I first heard it, but when I see the look on Mr. Third Generation's face now. Everyone turned their attention and saw that the expression shown by Third Generation was cautious and solemn as never before. That kind of look, I didn't see Third Generation Sama show when he passed away or when Konoha was in the most critical moment. Turning his eyes back to the battlefield, Orochimaru took a few steps back with a sinister smile, and the three deceased people slowly walked out of the coffin. Long time no see, monkey. First generation, who was wearing red armor, was the first to speak. The second generation looked at the aging face of the third generation and couldn't help but sigh. You are getting old too, Sarutobi. I wanted to catch up with you too, but it's a pity. As he said that, Sarutobi looked not far away. Hashirama and Tobirama also followed their gazes, and their eyes fell on the third person who was summoned. I saw the man lowering his head, a flash of blood looming between his eyes, and then a young voice came out of him. From the Sarutobi family, boy. Master Xiao. Looking at Uchiha Xiao's handsome face, third generation couldn't help but fall into memories. Once upon a time, when I was young, I also looked at Uchiha Xiao's neck and secretly worked towards his goal. Uchiha Xiao ignored third generation. He raised his head and directed his blood-red eyes towards the Hashirama brothers. The magatama in his eyes began to rotate rapidly. Long time no see, two brothers from the Senju family. Chapter 3. 1/5 of the strength is so terrifying. Please give me flowers. Please give me a review vote. Please give me a collection. Xiao was surprised the first second he came out of the coffin, but he relied on his excellent intuition and intelligence-gathering abilities. Within 5 seconds, he had deduced everything about the situation. Senju boy, if I remember correctly, this is a secret technique you developed, right? Xiao said mockingly. Uchiha Xiao, it's you. Tobirama spoke, his voice full of vigilance. If it weren't for the impure world reincarnation that caused the reincarnated person to have no expression, I'm afraid Tobirama would lose control of his expression. It's not his fault that he lost his temper, not to mention that the entire Senju clan had been living in the shadow of Uchiha just because of Xiao. Senju Hashirama's untimely death was also inseparable from Xiao's severe injury. However, Hashirama was very considerate and said hello to Xiao. Long time no see, Mr. Xiao. Xiao glanced at Hashirama, then looked around at the smoke-filled Konoha and said. It seems that we will become comrades in destroying Konoha together. Tobirama was very unhappy with Xiao's sarcasm, and in an instant Kaido said, it's so rude, it's Uchiha who has a cold nature. Xiao has always valued Uchiha very much in his life. Now when he heard Tobirama's stereotypical words, he instantly became murderous. Xiao's Sharingan glowed red, and a murderous aura spread. Yeah, I don't mind killing the Senju clan. At this moment of tension, Orochimaru came out to smooth things over. Okay, let's end the old gentleman's reminiscing here. He took out 2 kunai with charms attached to them, and regardless of second generation's murderous eyes, he put the kunai into the minds of the 2 Senju brothers. The next second, the 2 Senju brothers were wiped out of their will, and their eyes became lifeless like corpses. Xiao looked at this scene, his eyes suddenly turned sharp, murderous intent piercing Orochimaru like a sharp edge. Feeling Xiao's dangerous aura, third generation spoke to Orochimaru. It's already a big mistake for you to play with the dead, why would you still summon such a dangerous person? Sarutobi-sensei, you are such an old fool. This is war. You don't need your consent for me to summon anyone, right? Orochimaru said with a wicked smile while washing his face with his tongue. Xiao looked at Orochimaru, who smiled evilly. Don't look at me like that, Uchiha's #1 master. Xiao's tone was very aloof, how do you have the confidence to control me with such weak strength? The extremely arrogant tone did not anger Orochimaru. Orochimaru calmly Kaido. Naturally, countless studies and experiments gave me the confidence. With that said, he picked up the talisman kunai and penetrated it into Xiao's brain. At this time, Orochimaru realized something was wrong, because he found that he could indeed control Xiao, but the degree of control was very limited. At this time, Xiao turned around, his eyes were extremely clear, and said, "It seems that the research and experiments you hold in high esteem are not so powerful." Orochimaru's face turned ugly. Although he knew that Xiao was very powerful, he didn't expect that he was so strong that even the first Hokage could only be controlled by him. But this Uchiha Xiao was still able to escape partially. "Although I can't shut you up, you should just listen to me." As he spoke, Orochimaru's thoughts moved, and Xiao's body was directly controlled by Orochimaru, and this move also made Xiao unhappy. Orochimaru did not let Xiao take action, but first let the first generation second Hokage step forward to fight the third generation. The battle begins quickly, and Impure World Reincarnation's shortcomings become immediately apparent. Due to the shortcomings of Impure World Reincarnation, the first generation and second generation cannot exert their full strength, so facing the attack of the two Hokages, the third generation can still barely resist. Looking at this scene, Orochimaru smiled ferociously, waved one hand and said, "Come on, the pride of the Uchiha clan." As soon as he finished speaking, Xiao immediately took action. He simply made two seals with his hands. Fire style Great Fireball technique. This is a basic fire style ninjutsu, but with Xiao's activation, not only the seal is shortened, but the power is also very high. A huge fireball was formed instantly, and then it hit the third generation like a high-speed missile. How is it possible? It's just a basic Great Fireball, but it can have such size and speed. Anbu outside was shocked. Even they might not be able to withstand such a fireball. The blazing fireball was so powerful that third generation did not dare to neglect it and formed seals quickly with both hands. Water style. Water barrier. Although third generation can also create water out of thin air, it is still far from the level of second Hokage. The small water barrier was like a mantis trying to act as a chariot against this wave of great fireball. As the fire and water collided, a stream of scalding steam immediately evaporated. As the steam dissipated, the third generation emerged with many wounds burned by the high temperature. Sarutobi-sensei, I'm really in a sorry state, Orochimaru said proudly while marveling at Xiao's strength. Reanimation jutsu can only bring out 1/5 of the reincarnated person's strength. Didn't you expect that you can't resist even this? Orochimaru didn't deliberately lower his voice when he spoke, and the Anbu outside were shocked when they heard this. It's only 1/5. What if it's 100%? It's really unimaginable. At this time, Xiao secretly felt his own strength after hearing Orochimaru's words. No wonder he felt as if there were shackles on his body, locking most of his strength. It turned out that he was bound by this technique. Thinking this, the Sharingan in his eyes began to rotate rapidly, and the chakra in his body began to boil. The battle was still going on. Orochimaru didn't notice anything strange about Xiao, and was enjoying watching his former mentor being crushed. Seeing how powerful Xiao's ninjutsu was, third generation quickly stepped forward, hoping to win with taijutsu. Xiao Fei spun around, and the armor plates on his body collided with each other, making a crisp sound. He fired a flying kick and hit the third generation's chest. Boom. The next second, third generation flew out like a kite with a broken string, and then hit the ground hard, with tiles flying everywhere. However, when the dust dispersed, everyone saw clearly that it was just a clay figure lying there. Not a bad trick. Xiao showed a smile, and his long dormant fighting spirit was slightly raised. And the figure of the third generation appeared in the distance at some point. I saw him quickly forming seals with his hands, and big beads of sweat covered his face. Earth-style promising transformation. The next second, the tiles on the ground began to collapse, and the entire roof heaved up and down like an earthquake. But this was not over yet, and the seal in the hands of third generation was not over yet. Earth-style Tulan gun. Earthen guns protruded from the already cracked roof. With such a large-scale escape technique, the first generation and second generation were directly covered up, but Xiao still stood in the center of the battlefield with his excellent skills. Outside the battlefield, Anbu who was watching the battle were all speechless. They were amazed that the third generation could use such large-scale ninjutsu in such a situation, and they were also horrified by Xiao's strength that he could still survive such a large-scale attack. At this time, a figure appeared next to Anbu. Who? The Anbu were alert, but when they noticed the incoming person, they all started to salute. Lord Danzo. I saw a weird man with a bandage slowly walking over. The village still needs a lot of manpower, go and help. But third generation Sama, aren't you still relieved that I'm here? Yes. After hearing Danzo's order, the Anbu had no choice but to give up their thoughts and rush to the battlefield. Danzo was looking at the battlefield of the four purple flame formation, looking at the invincible black figure, his slightly narrowed eyes revealed a light like a torch. Those eyes. At this moment, Orochimaru was feeling very proud, but suddenly, an extremely bad feeling arose spontaneously. What happened? He found that his control on Xiao was somewhat loosened. Chapter 4. Shocked Orochimaru. Please give me flowers. Please give me a review vote. Please give me a collection. Orochimaru still maintained his confident yet disgusting smile, but a few large drops of sweat still revealed his inner peace. You look very bad, Orochimaru, are you worried? Third generation, who was already a little weak, took this opportunity to verbally attack Orochimaru in order to give himself some rest time. Orochimaru wiped the sweat from his forehead and said with a smile. Don't put these little tricks on the table, teacher. The third generation's little thoughts were quickly seen through by Orochimaru. Orochimaru continued to direct the first generation and the second generation to attack the third generation, and then asked Uchiha Xiao to hold a big one aside. And Uchiha Xiao lived up to expectations. He pressed one hand on the ground and shouted, summoning technique. Seeing this, Orochimaru's eyes lit up. Everyone present was a little curious, wondering what the summoningmon of the former number 1 ninja world was. Uchiha Xiao raised his head, showing a look of disdain. Come out, 9 tails. Quote. Orochimaru was silent, and Danzo outside also had a strange expression, not knowing what he was thinking. Xiao Jun, I want to remind you that 9 tails has been banned. However, before Orochimaru finished speaking, the next second. Boom. Along with a loud noise, the summoning array on Uchiha Xiao's ground suddenly glowed with a strange red light, and a violent chakra wanted to get out like a mad dog breaking out of its cage. No, it can't be. At this time, even Orochimaru, the spellcaster, was sweating. He knew that Uchiha Xiao was very strong, but he didn't know that Uchiha Xiao was strong enough to directly summon 9 tails. If 9 tails is really going to come out, what plan is there for the collapse of Konoha? Just run away. On the other side, third generation was resisting the attack while paying attention to what was happening on Uchiha Xiao's side. When he saw Uchiha Xiao's tendency to summon 9 tails summoning, he couldn't help but feel refreshed. He did not allow Uchiha Xiao to summon 9 tails. The scene of 9 tails invasion 12 years ago was still before his eyes. Fourth generation, Kushina, Lake Biwa. Countless faces appear in front of you like a fleeting sight. If there is another 9 tails invasion, half a century of Konoha's great achievements will fall in his hands. He won't allow this to happen. Thinking like this, an inexplicable power burst out in third generation. Summoning technique Simian Demon. The third generation placed its hand on the first generation's chest, and the summoning technique appeared on the first generation's body. Boom. The next second, first generation's figure exploded, and a muscular monkey wearing a tiger skin suit burst first generation. The monkey demon had just been summoned, and before he knew what was going on around him, he heard third generation shout. Ruyi Golden Cudgel. The ape demon was also very obedient and turned into a stick made of black gold. Then the stick rolled a few times and landed in the hands of third generation. With a thought, the stick in third generation's hand instantly grew several times larger, and then it hit the second Hokage at the side with lightning speed. With one stick, second generation also turned into a ball of flying catkins. The purpose of third generation's thunderous tactics was to take advantage of first generation and second generation's condensation to quickly stop Uchiha Xiao from summoning 9 tails. Orochimaru on the other side, seeing the crazy red chakra on the summoning circle, he also understood that if he didn't take action, his plan to collapse Konoha would be aborted. He formed a seal with his hands, trying to further control Uchiha Xiao's body. However, the feedback the technique brought to him shocked him again. Out of control again, he found that his control over Uchiha Xiao had further declined. Uchiha Xiao. This name brought him too many surprises today. Far away from the battlefield, Naruto was chasing Gaara with his friends. Suddenly, he felt a cramp in his stomach, which made him almost faint. Naruto. What's wrong? Little Sakura and Sasuke immediately gathered around. However, Naruto found it difficult to answer. His whole soul was pulled into the spiritual world, and he found that he had come to the familiar sewer again. However, he found that today was different from the past. In the past, the sewers were very quiet, and the huge fox would be like a philosopher, either not opening his mouth, or once he opened his mouth, it would tempt Naruto to open the seal. And what Naruto saw now shocked him greatly. Hoki's fox, who used to be calm, was now rolling in the cage, letting out bursts of shrill howls. A violent, savage anger erupted from 9 tails, and the red chakra was scattered everywhere as if it was free of charge. In this deafening and violent noise, Naruto vaguely heard a few characters. Xiao. Ah, it's you again, Xiao. Chapter 5. Reacquaint yourself, I am Uchiha Xiao. Please give me flowers. Please give me collections. Please give me evaluation votes. At this moment, Uchiha Xiao, who was on the battlefield, was full of doubts. Why can't this stinky fox come out of summoning? Has it become rebellious after not seeing it for decades? It seems like it was beaten too little. Listening to the murmur in Uchiha Xiao's mouth, Orochimaru broke into a cold sweat. Just when Uchiha Xiao was still confused, suddenly, his eyes flickered and his figure disappeared instantly. Whoosh! A black stick was like a missile poking straight towards the place where Uchiha Xiao was just now. The stick stuck into the ground and all the tiles on it shattered. As soon as Uchiha Xiao left, the summoning technique was useless, and the red evil chakra disappeared in an instant. Naruto in the distance also found that his stomach no longer hurt. He was so nervous that he didn't care so much and continued to chase Gaara. The stick was accurately inserted into the summoning technique, and the powerful force even shattered it. Uchiha Xiao was a little unhappy when he saw that his technique was interrupted. Just when he was about to step forward to teach third generation a lesson, he suddenly felt a very familiar feeling. He quickly looked outside the four purple flame formation and saw a man covered in bandages standing there. He felt a familiar feeling on that man. It's the feeling of Uchiha tribe. No, it's not. Uchiha Xiao suddenly turned his head to look at Danzo. He opened his blood-red eyes, and the three Magatama were spinning rapidly, and then condensed together to form a complex geometric pattern. Danzo was frightened by this sudden movement. He deliberately avoided looking away, but Danzo found that he couldn't avoid it. It seems as if my time has been stolen. He was caught in the illusion without any precautions, and he didn't even have time to cast a Zanagi. Soon, Danzo fell into Uchiha Xiao's illusion. At this time, Orochimaru looked at Uchiha Xiao warily, because he found that he could no longer control Uchiha Xiao. No matter how he used the magic to give orders, Uchiha Xiao refused to listen. His hands are ready to go. As soon as there is a change, he will immediately form a seal to release the Impure world reincarnation. At this time, Orochimaru also discovered a person standing outside the four purple flame formation. Danzo. Why is he here? Orochimaru looked at Danzo, and at this moment, Danzo suddenly untied the bandage around his right eye, and a blood-red Mangekyō suddenly appeared. Distinguished heavenly gods. What? Orochimaru finally showed a panicked look. He hurriedly tried to cover his eyes, but he discovered that Danzo was not casting an illusion on him, but on Uchiha Xiao beside him. Why? This guy Danzo knows how to. Orochimaru, who was brainstorming, was suddenly stunned, and then looked at Uchiha Xiao beside him in disbelief. I saw Uchiha Xiao giving him a contemptuous smile. Reintroduction. I am Uchiha Xiao. As Uchiha Xiao said the last word, Orochimaru found that he had lost the last bit of control over Uchiha Xiao. Chapter 6. What a terrifying pressure. He is indeed the most dangerous ninja. Please give me flowers. Please give me a review vote. Please give me a collection. Orochimaru's face was also extremely ugly. He claimed to be smart, but he was tricked by Uchiha Xiao. Looking back on my life, I suffered from depression twice, both because of the Uchiha tribe. At this time, Danzo also reacted. He felt the almost blind eye on his right side, and his heart was suddenly filled with indignation. This eye has been in use for a long time. I just wanted to use it at a critical moment, but I didn't expect that it would be used to free myself from the constraints of Impure world reincarnation. This is no different than hitting mosquitoes with a cannon. He wanted to ask Uchiha Xiao for an explanation, but in his current state he couldn't stay here for too long, so he had to give Uchiha Xiao a hard look, and then left in despair. As for Uchiha Xiao himself, he didn't bother to care who he had just cheated. He closed his eyes and felt the shackles on his body being lifted little by little. Okay. Very good. A pressure spread across Uchiha Xiao's body, seeming to form a substance, and the rubble under his feet made a shattering sound as if it was being crushed by a heavy object. Even Orochimaru, who was not afraid of death, couldn't help but take 2 steps back when he saw this scene. What a terrifying pressure. He is indeed the most dangerous ninja. Although he lost control of Uchiha Xiao, Orochimaru didn't feel much upset in his heart, but became more and more excited. The strength Uchiha Xiao showed today made him desire Sharingan even more. Sasuke-kun, I won't keep you waiting too long. The third generation, who was fighting with the first generation and the second generation in the distance, also noticed something was wrong with Uchiha Xiao. He could feel that this Uchiha Xiao had become stronger. Orochimaru, you won't lose control of Master Xiao, will you? Orochimaru didn't answer. He still looked at Uchiha Xiao with feverish eyes, as if he was admiring a piece of exquisite porcelain. At this time, I saw Uchiha Xiao striding forward a few steps. His voice was like a bell, announcing that he had regained his freedom. Tobirama's so-called forbidden technique is nothing more than that. After hearing Uchiha Xiao's words, third generation's heart also fell to a low point. He would rather die than have a murderous god like Uchiha Xiao appear in the ninja world, especially in Konoha. Orochimaru, this is the consequence of your abusing the forbidden technique and playing with the dead. Are you satisfied now? Third generation shouted to Orochimaru from the distance. Orochimaru looked at third generation, his expression as confident as ever for decades. Since it is an experiment, there will be failures. I have no regrets, teacher. As he said that, he turned to look at Uchiha Xiao, with a hint of madness flashing in his eyes. First of all, congratulations to Mr. Uchiha Xiao for getting free. What are Mr. Xiao's plans? Do you want to work with me to destroy Konoha? Uchiha Xiao was also a little speechless by Orochimaru's shamelessness. He had no interest in Orochimaru's proposal. Cooperate. Uchiha Xiao looked at Orochimaru's confident expression and couldn't help but chuckle a few times. Young man, why do you think you are qualified to discuss cooperation with me? So arrogant. So arrogant. But Orochimaru was not angry, he knew that this was Uchiha's character. When the third generation in the distance saw that Uchiha Xiao was really out of control, he immediately shouted to Uchiha Xiao from the air. Master Xiao, this is a battle between us juniors. I hope you won't interfere. However, before third generation could finish speaking, Uchiha Xiao's figure suddenly disappeared. In the next breath, his figure appeared directly in front of third generation, and the sudden fist was directed at third generation's face. Feeling the powerful punch, third generation is convinced that this punch is no less powerful than the unique power of the Senju clan. Chapter 7. The secret technique of Mangekyō Sharingan, Susanoo. Please collect it. Please send flowers. Please vote for evaluation. As an experienced ninja, third generation had already prepared for Uchiha Xiao's sudden attack. He had already asked the monkey demon to wait for a long time. Sure enough, Uchiha Xiao punched out, and the monkey demon instantly flew up to act as a shield and received the punch. Bang! With a loud noise, third generation flew backwards, but with the defense of the monkey demon, he was not seriously injured. Just when third generation was about to fall to the ground, the golden cudgel suddenly extended and hit the ground, supporting third generation up. Third generation took advantage of the force and the support of the stick to fly into the air. The Rui golden cudgel in his hand also transformed into a huge shape, as big as the stone pillars of a palace. This stick should not be underestimated. If it were not for the immortality after Impure world reincarnation, Uchiha Xiao would not dare to resist such a blow. Third generation, who is in midair, has also thought of a countermeasure. After the Rui golden cudgel breaks up Uchiha Xiao's body, before his body begins to condense, he can use the corpse seal to seal him forever. No future trouble. However, despite all the third generation's mechanisms, Uchiha Xiao did not expect that Uchiha Xiao would not want to resist this move with her own body. Even though there would be no loss in resisting, Uchiha Xiao just didn't play according to the routine, and a strange red light appeared in his eyes. Mangekyō Sharingan secret technique, Susanoo. Boom. A huge red arm skeleton suddenly appeared, followed by a body skeleton, a skull, and a complete skeleton with red light just appeared. This is it. Looking at this scene, the dusty memories in third generation's heart began to open up. Susanoo, he has not seen this secret technique for decades. The third generation recalled that the last time he saw such a giant was the battle between the first generation and Madara outside the village. That shocking battle was a deep memory for countless elders in Konoha. Susanoo's figure is also deeply imprinted in the memory of third generation. Bang! The golden cudgel hit the red frame hard. The violent impact caused the surrounding space to distort a bit, and strong wind pressure exploded from it. One can imagine how great the impact of this blow was. However, the blood-red skeleton shook violently a few times, and then there was no reaction. It doesn't work. The third generation looked very ugly. The blow just now was a full blow from the monkey demon. If this could not cause any trace to Uchiha Xiao's Susanoo, it will be even more difficult to subdue Uchiha Xiao. At this time, the ninjas who were fighting in the village couldn't help but be attracted to Susanoo in the center of the battlefield. This blood-red 100-meter giant suddenly appeared, not to mention the people of Konoha, even the invader Sand Shinobi, many people couldn't help but put down the kunai in their hands. Without him, it would be too outrageous. Everyone is doing so well with kunai, so why are you driving the Gundam? What on earth is this? The Konoha shinobi who had just finished the battle looked at the strange red giant and asked questions one after another. It was really weird, they had never heard of this kind of technique. It's Susanoo. A voice broke through the irrational exclamations of the people around. Everyone looked over and saw that it was Hitaki Kakashi, the elite jonin in the village. This is a ninjutsu that Sharingan can only use after reaching a certain level. It is extremely powerful and is called the power of God. Sharingan. But isn't the Uchiha clan? Kakashi said cautiously. No matter who it is, I only know that if Susanoo continues to appear in the village, then Master Hokage will be in danger. Guy, come with me. The rest of the team will clear the battlefield quickly, and come back as soon as possible to support us. Kakashi is an elite jonin, so he is naturally qualified to give orders to the ninjas present. The ninjas obeyed the order and dispersed immediately. Kakashi took Might Guy and ran towards Susanoo. Guy, I'm afraid I need you this time. At this time, Kakashi also discovered that Guy had already taken off the weight. He showed the sign of his expression, gave a thumbs up and said, "Give it to me." Chapter 8. Isn't this enough? Hokage is really inferior to every generation. Please give me flowers. Please give me a review vote. Please give me a collection. Ho. The third generation was lying on a piece of rubble. Everything around him had been reduced to rubble. He was gasping for air. One can imagine the brutality of the battle. Isn't this enough? Hokage is really inferior to every generation. Uchiha Xiao stood at a high place, looking down at the embarrassed third generation. Seeing that third generation no longer had the strength to recover, Uchiha Xiao, who originally had a little fighting spirit, lost interest. He formed seals with his hands and murmured. Then let me speed up the battle. Susanoo second form. Uchiha Xiao's eyes glowed red, and in the next second, Susanoo, who originally only had a skeleton, seemed to come to life. The skeleton was covered with meridians and flesh. The red chakra wrapped up Susanoo like a coat, and even Susanoo's height increased a lot. Feeling Susan's power and oppression growing further, Orochimaru couldn't help but swallow his saliva. At this time, his desire for Sharingan was higher than before. However, Orochimaru was still rational. Seeing that Susan became more powerful, he knew that if he did not remove the 4 purple flame formation, Susan's attack would probably affect him. He made a gesture, and when the 4 sound ninjas saw it, they formed seals together. The towering wall of fire dissipated in an instant, and he himself was ready to run away. At this moment, Kakashi and Might Guy came to the rescue. The two stood in front of third generation and took a stance facing Uchiha Xiao. Uchiha. Who is this? Might Guy fit his unlearned persona very well. He looked at Uchiha Xiao and asked. Kakashi obviously recognized Uchiha Xiao's identity, and said in a very heavy voice. Uchiha Xiao has the title of the most dangerous ninja, and his strength can even surpass Shodai. Even the very nervous Might Guy looked surprised at this moment, but soon his expression turned serious. In this case, we can't let him be too arrogant. Open the 6th gate, Jingmun. A burst of green energy exploded with the sharp increase in chakra, and the skin became extremely red. The third generation watched Might Guy open the 6th gate and said weakly, Guy, do what you can. Whoosh. A ball of wind exploded, and Guy's figure suddenly disappeared. At this time, Uchiha Xiao thought, and he felt a force coming quickly. Feeling the extraordinary speed, he sneered. It just so happened that he also wanted to test how much defense Susanoo, 1/5 of his strength, still had. Boom. It was a very strong punch, but his Susanoo was unharmed. Uchiha Xiao continued not to move. He wanted to see if this enemy could break through his defense. Soon, the enemy began his torrential attack. Towards the peacock. Might Guy's fists attacked rapidly, causing intense friction in the air and even creating flames. Countless fists wrapped in flames hit Susanoo. As time went by, Uchiha Xiao discovered that his Susanoo seemed to have acceptable defense. After such an intensive attack, he still remained unscathed and unscathed. Guy waved his fists and was horrified. What kind of defense was this? Before Guy could do anything, Uchiha Xiao spoke. The fight is over, now it's my turn. Boom. Carrying his fist, Susanoo couldn't help but raise a long sword and struck it down hard. In an instant, what was originally a fight on the roof, now Uchiha Xiao's sword directly razed the entire building to the ground. Countless rubble and dust were scattered all around, and Guy's figure disappeared again. At this time, a series of afterimages loomed, and from time to time they punched Susan with great force and speed, but unfortunately they did not cause any harm to Susan. To outsiders, Guy's speed is like an afterimage, but in Uchiha Xiao's Sharingan, Guy's traces are clearly visible. Chapter 9. Did I let you go? Please give me flowers. Please give me a review vote. Please give me a collection. Not bad speed, but no matter how good the speed is, it cannot escape Uchiha's eyes. Saying that, Susan quickly transformed into the third form, and the long sword in his hand also transformed into the exclusive weapon, Onikiri. Chua. The sword energy transformed from the slash flew forward. Might Guy barely dodged this blow, but he only escaped the fatal blow, and the remaining sword energy still scraped Guy's body. A line of blood flew in the air. Guy held the huge wound on his stomach and backed away. He was very horrified in his heart. If he had been slower, he would have turned into a soul killed by Uchiha Xiao's sword. It seems that just opening the 6th gate is not enough. Guy covered his wound, thinking about what to do next. As for Uchiha Xiao, although he severely wounded his opponent with one sword, he didn't feel happy in his heart because he knew that if it was his heyday, the sword he just struck could directly kill the enemy. But now, Impure World Reincarnation has only awakened 1/5 of his strength, which makes him very unhappy when fighting. The shackles that block his strength still exist. At this moment, an idea flashed through his mind. Tailed beast. That's right, if you have the help of a tailed beast, your battle won't be so difficult. And coincidentally, I also sense the aura of one tail nearby. Although I don't know where the 9 tails with the most chakra are, I can make do with it if I can grab a one tail. Just do it if you think of it. Seeing the smoke in front of him, Uchiha Xiao suddenly felt bored, and he quickly formed seals with his hands. Earth-style earth clone technique. As the seal was completed, several stones suddenly protruded from the ground, and these stones turned into the appearance of Uchiha Xiao. Earth clone technique. Each can inherit 1/10 of the strength of the caster, and this time there are 3 clones, which is enough for the people of Konoha to drink a pot. Just when Uchiha Xiao was preparing to hunt the tailed beast, he found Orochimaru who was about to sneak away. Seeing how fierce the battle was, Orochimaru also knew that if he didn't leave and wait for Konoha's large army to arrive, it would be even more troublesome. Just as he was about to run away, a voice reached his ears. Did I let you go? Uchiha Xiao glared at Orochimaru. The next second, Susanoo raised his sword and hit Orochimaru hard with a red blow. Orochimaru saw the power of this slash just now, but he didn't think he could resist this sword. Summoning technique triple Rashomon. Boom. 3 huge iron doors rose from the ground. The iron doors were also carved with the appearance of evil spirits, making the door look full of evil. However, this was of no use. In just an instant, 3 huge doors were blown to ashes by Susanoo. Ha ha. Terrifying power. A drop of cold sweat broke out from Orochimaru's forehead, and his hands changed the seals and slammed towards the ground. Bang! As white smoke rose, a giant purple python suddenly appeared. Orochimaru. One snake was stunned for a moment after appearing, and then it saw Susanoo, the huge katana that was approaching infinitely, with a hint of panic in its eyes. Orochimaru. This is. The sharp roar of the snake sounded, but it had not finished its words yet. Orochimaru suddenly got into Wan Shi's mouth, giving Wan Shi no chance to question, and no time for Wan Shi to understand the current situation. Boom! Susanoo's huge samurai sword slashed at the mountain-like body of 10,000 snakes. You guy, damn, Orochimaru. The body like a mountain of snakes gradually disintegrated, and an angry roar echoed throughout the audience. The powerful sword struck directly at Wan Snake's body, seemingly blessed by flames. The strong high temperature caused Wan Snake's skin to quickly dry up and burn. Boom! The next second, a shocking explosion appeared on Wan Shi. In an instant, blood and flesh flew everywhere, and its flesh and blood spread all over the surrounding battlefield. The fly is finally solved. Looking around, Uchiha Xiao didn't think Orochimaru could still be alive in this situation. Seeing that the third generation and the others were being dragged by their own clones, and no one was around to disturb them, it was a good time to hunt the tailed beasts. At this moment, there was a strange movement in the broken rubble pile. Uchiha Xiao took a closer look and saw a pale arm breaking out of the rubble. Then, the pale man with an evil smile appeared again. Haha, we meet again, Uchiha Xiao. Looking at the embarrassed Orochimaru, Uchiha Xiao couldn't help but said, maybe it would be more appropriate for me to call you a cockroach. Chapter 10. Orochimaru is dead. Please give me flowers. Please give me a review vote. Please give me a collection. As the saying goes, you must get rid of the roots. If you don't kill the cockroaches completely, you will often see cockroaches in the rest of your life, Vice Admiral. Therefore, although cockroaches do not pose a threat, creatures like cockroaches must be out of sight. Uchiha Xiao's decision at this moment is not to rush to hunt the tailed beast for the time being, but to kill Orochimaru, the cockroach, completely. Fourth form. The chakra in Uchiha Xiao's body mobilized quickly. Soon, Susanoo's figure was taller, and her lower body and legs were created based on the original second form. At the same time, the size also increased significantly, and Uchiha Xiao also stood on Susanoo's head. At the same time, the skill, Susanoo's sword, with a wide range was also awakened at this moment. The third generation in the distance looked at Susanoo, who was taller and taller, and her heart was filled with infinite hesitation. Uchiha Xiao, what kind of existence are you? At this moment, Orochimaru seemed to be about to explode with a fatal blow. He suddenly opened his mouth wide, and a creature with a human head and a snake body emerged from it. The next second, the creature suddenly grew in size, and then turned into a huge white snake. This was not over yet. As the big snake shook violently, 7 heads slowly split from the big snake's body. Finally, it turned into a huge Yamada no Orochi. Seeing this scene, even Uchiha Xiao, who was indifferent to the world, couldn't help but feel a chill at this moment. What a disgusting technique. Yamada no Orochi is very large, almost like a tailed beast. Uchiha Xiao was not afraid of this scene. What a joke, which of the tailed beasts Lousy hunted at that time was not stronger than this Yamada no Orochi? Uchiha Xiao started the attack without saying a word. He quickly formed seals with his hands, and a hurricane came out of his mouth. Wind style. Great breakthrough. Then, another ball of flames seamlessly flowed from the mouth. Fire style extinguishing fire. The wind takes advantage of the fire, and the fire assists the wind. The combined ninjutsu of one fire and one wind burst out with great power. The tongues of fire that opened its fangs and claws quickly wrapped around the body of the Yamada no Orochi. Due to the severe burning pain, the Yamada Noriki quickly twisted. The flexibility of Susanoo in the fourth form has been greatly improved. Taking this opportunity, Uchiha Xiao controlled Susanoo to stride forward and lifted a snake head with one hand. Chua! Onikiri erupted with a red light, and chopped off a snake head to the ground. The huge snake head fell to the ground, kicking up a cloud of dust. The Yamada no Orochi was in pain, and its body shook and twisted crazily. Several snake heads also wanted to fight back, opening their blood plates and biting Susanoo with their big mouths. However, in this form, Susan had already put on the armor of the Karasu Tengu, and a few bites would not pose any threat at all. Controlling Susanoo, Onikiri struck with a few swords, and Yamada no Orochi was scarred after a while. Seeing that the fight was almost over, Uchiha Xiao continued to form seals. At the same time, even Susan he controlled also followed suit. Summoning technique. Flame Pillar God. In an instant, a huge tongue of fire emerged from the ground and directly enveloped the huge Yamada no Orochi. The raging flames burned the Yamada no Orochi, and the crackling sound of burning was endless. The third generation and others who were still fighting felt frightened. Uchiha Xiao looked at the burning snake indifferently for a while, and then turned around to hunt the tailed beast. At this time, a voice came from the burning snake. Xiao, I will, come back. Uchiha Xiao looked at the fireball in surprise, and then immediately activated the sensory ninjutsu, but he found no trace of Orochimaru again. The death words before death. Uchiha Xiao didn't care too much about this. For him, killing an Orochimaru was almost the same as killing an ordinary ninja. Even if he was resurrected, it was nothing more than 2 more sword strikes. On the other side, several people from 3rd generation are still fighting with their clones. Isn't Orochimaru dead? The Impure world reincarnation hasn't been lifted yet. Kakashi looked at the 1st generation and 2nd generation who were still fighting and couldn't help but wonder. No, Orochimaru is probably dead. The death of the caster will not make Impure world reincarnation disappear. 3rd generation explained on the side. At this time, 2nd generation suddenly burst into view, attracting everyone's attention. 2nd generation suddenly took action, forming a seal with his hands, and a ball of water gathered in midair. Water-style water dragon bomb technique. Not good. The shape of the water ball changes, gradually forming the appearance of a water dragon. The 3rd generation and others have solemn expressions. The 2nd generation's water style is famous all over the world. If such a volume of water hits, the internal organs will be easily crushed if not careful. Earth style. Earth style wall. 3rd generation and Kakashi teamed up with Chakra to perform a combined earth style. Boom. A thick earth wall rose from the ground. Looking at the earthen wall, 3rd generation and others felt a sense of security, but looking at the huge water force unleashed by 2nd generation, they were still a little frightened. 3rd generation secretly blamed itself for using chakra too quickly, otherwise the earth wall's defense would have been higher. Soon, the water dragon began to attack, and it rushed downwards with an unstoppable momentum. Just as 3rd generation and others were waiting, a strange scene happened. The direction of the water dragon suddenly changed, and it hit Uchiha Xiao's clone. The clone seemed not to have expected this situation, and was hit by the water dragon without any precautions. The clone turned back into a clod of earth and turned into a puddle of mud under the impact of the water dragon. Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Seeing this scene, 3rd generation and others were shocked. At this time, 3rd generation found that 2nd generation's eyes seemed to be clear again. Just when 3rd generation wanted to ask something, a gust of wind appeared in his ears. I'm careless. I saw another clone of Uchiha Xiao punching me. After a long battle, 3rd generation was now physically and mentally exhausted, and his fighting consciousness seemed to have become dull. He had no premonition of the coming of this punch. At this time, the change occurred again, and a voice appeared from the side. Wood-style wood dragon technique. As soon as he finished speaking, a mighty wooden dragon suddenly appeared from the ground. This wooden dragon directly tied up Uchiha Xiao's body, rolled it up hard, and turned into a pile of rubble and fell to the ground. The 3rd generation and others were very surprised. They didn't understand how the 2 Hokage bastards could suddenly switch sides. It's okay, monkey. 1st generation hugged its chest and smiled at 3rd generation. It's okay. How did you break free from the control of the dirt? The 3rd generation was very surprised to see that the 1st generation could actually speak. It should be the reason that young man died. I feel like the soul restraint on my body has disappeared. 1st generation looked at the pile of charred white snake corpses and said. Although he felt surprised, he was also relieved inside. These 2 people had just made him suffer a lot. At this time, 3rd generation was slightly stunned. The battle just continued. Now that they were free, they finally realized that Orochimaru was dead. A trace of sadness flashed in 3rd generation's eyes, and then he shook his head and said. The top priority now is to deal with Uchiha Xiao. We can't let him cause trouble to the ninja world anymore. In fact, the 3rd generation had already despaired of Uchiha Xiao's arrival, but now that he saw the 1st generation and the 2nd generation also breaking free from control and fighting side by side with them, a glimmer of hope arose in his heart. I just felt the aura of one tail, and Xiao seemed to be running there too. 1st generation said while touching his chin and recalling. The 3rd generation thought for a moment and felt that protecting Naruto was what they needed to do now, and then asked Kakashi, one tail. Kakashi, where is Naruto now? His safety is a top priority now. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. A cold sweat appeared on Kakashi's forehead. Well, ahem. Naruto was sent by me to chase one tail. 3rd generation. Chapter 11. Run. Go find Jiraiya. Please give me flowers. Please give me a review vote. Please give me a collection. 3rd generation sighed and sighed. It seems that it is fate. Uchiha Xiao and us will eventually have a result. Kakashi also lowered his head guiltily and said nothing. In this dull atmosphere, the loud voice of 1st generation appeared. Ah, your physical skills are so amazing. How did you practice them? I saw 1st generation patting Guy's muscles very skillfully, with a warm smile on his face. Guy gave a thumbs up and showed his signature expression. This is the embodiment of passionate youth. So handsome. 1st generation's eyes glowed with gold. Shodai, it's still the same. The 3rd generation looked at the innocent smiling face of the 1st generation, seeming to think of their young days, and couldn't help but laugh. Okay, brother, we have to deal with that guy Xiao quickly. 2nd generation directly grabbed 1st generation's shoulders and dragged him over. This scene also made the 3rd generation ashamed. In front of his younger brother, the first generation had no majesty as a ninja god. On the other side, Team Naruto has caught up with Gaara and others. At this time, Gaara has completely lost consciousness. One-tail Shukaku has completely controlled Gaara and revived. Looking at the huge one-tail Shukaku and the endangered little Sakura, and the sand binding was about to kill him, Naruto became calmer. Summoning technique. Bang! A puff of white smoke exploded, and Shukaku found that his sand restraints had been broken free. He looked at the place where the white smoke was rising, and a toad of the same size as himself appeared. This guy. Not far away, Sasuke stared blankly at Naruto standing above Gamabunta's head, his heart filled with complicated emotions. He was happy that Naruto had such strength, but he was also ashamed that he was not as good as Naruto. But there is no doubt that Sasuke is unwilling to accept his weak strength. Thinking like this, he touched the curse mark on his neck again, and the snake-like man appeared in his mind again. Become stronger. I want to become stronger. Thinking like this, he touched the curse mark on his neck again, and the snake-like man appeared in his mind again. Become stronger. I want to become stronger. On the battlefield, after a while of forcing and arguing, Gamabunta was finally willing to help Naruto, and the two giant creatures soon started fighting in the forest. Practice blank ammunition. Shukaku's belly first swelled, and then he opened his mouth and spat out. The air stirred up, creating a circular wave, and a compressed high-speed balloon was shot out at high speed. Boy, hold on tight. Gamabunta signaled Naruto to hold on tight, and then he jumped up high and dodged the blank missile. The air bomb exploded in the forest behind. Dozens of trees collapsed immediately, causing birds to flee. However, Shukaku did not need much cooling time to practice blank bombing. He aimed at Gamabunta in the air and continued to open his mouth. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Like cannonballs, the empty bombs were carried by a whirlwind and hit Gamabunta. Gamabunta is not a coward either. He also has a way to deal with it. He forms a seal with his hands and then opens his mouth. Water-style Tipao Jade. Water cannons as big as hills covered the area like missiles. Boom. The two powerful attacks collided, and the water cannon was turned into water splashes that spread all over the sky. It was like a light rain when it fell. Seeing that his offensive was not very effective, Shukaku snorted coldly, and Bunta followed the attack and landed not far from Shukaku. Take advantage of now. Gamabunta's eyes lit up, and bursts of white smoke came out of the pipe at the corner of his mouth. The next second. Toad short sword. Gamabunta turned into an afterimage, the remaining smoke in the pipe escaped in the air, the bright silver sword light turned into a full moon, and only a harsh sound was heard. One of Shukaku's arms fell down. Roar. Shukaku let out a shrill scream. Although his arm could still be regenerated, he couldn't bear to have his arm chopped off by an unknown toad. If this matter spreads to the tailed beast circle, Nine Tails and the others will laugh out loud. Gamabunta on the other side wasn't too happy about this either. It was sighing at Shukaku's strength. With one strike of his own sword, the short sword flew out of his hand. The angry Shukaku opened his mouth wide and fired blank bullets one after another as if he was free of charge. Bang, 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 bang. Seeing this scene, Gamabunta was also shocked. This monster has too much chakra. After being hit twice, Gamabunta had to dodge left and right. He thought that he couldn't resist a few hits from such a powerful blank bullet. The wave of offensive ended. Bunta was breathing heavily and his body was heaving. No, if you continue like this, you will be consumed to death. Just as it was thinking about countermeasures, suddenly, a deep chill swept through its body. It was a very subtle feeling. In just this moment, Wentai's legs were tense and ready to run away at any time. The same thing happened to Shukaku on the opposite side. The blank bullet was swallowed back by it. It was so arrogant that it showed a rare look of fear. No, it can't be him, he has been dead for so many years. At this time, the two beasts discovered that a person was flying in from a distance. The person's attire was very strange, or retro, with black light armor covering his whole body, and a handsome face under his long flowing hair. At this time, Gamabunta's feeling became more and more intense. This was a strong sense of crisis, a feeling that he had not felt for decades since he was born. The next second, Gamabunta touched his head and put Naruto and Gamakichi in his hands. Boss Toad, what happened? Naruto asked. I saw Gamabunta throwing Naruto and the others outside with all his strength, and then shouted, you guys run. And, go find Jiraiya. Naruto and Toji were flying in midair, still very confused. Naruto even wondered if Toad Boss felt that he couldn't beat him and was preparing to run away. However, the next second, a scene appeared in front of them that they would never forget. I saw the man flying in front of Gamabunta. Gamabunta felt like he was facing a formidable enemy. Because the short sword flew away from his hand, he had to hold it empty-handed in front of him. Facing Gamabunta, the man's hands were empty. He raised his right arm high and turned his hand into a palm shape, as if he was making a sword. Gamabunta looked at the man's ridiculous behavior with some confusion. Could it be that he wanted to cut my body with his palm? However, it thought too much. In an instant, it saw that the man's normal human arm was suddenly covered by a huge red bone. The bones slowly extended to the hand bones. The hand bones held an ancient sword and made the same movements as a man. A chopping motion. Gamabunta's breathing was rapid, his legs were numb and he couldn't move, and his cloudy eyes reflected the strange red light on Susanna's body. Old man, old woman, Jiraiya, goodbye. Gamabunta closed his eyes. Bah! The sharp blade scratched the toad's smooth skin, and the cold blood turned into a blood line or a pool of blood bubbles, dyeing the green forest underneath red. Boom! Gamabunta's huge body hit the ground. The ground collapsed and the surrounding trees fell one after another. Soon, Gamabunta's breathing stopped, his pupils dissipated, the blood from the wound continued to flow, and his two webs continued to flap due to muscle reflexes, as if he was still alive. Naruto and Gamakichi fell to the ground, but neither of them felt any pain, and watched Gamabunta's disappearance with numb eyes. Chapter 12. Shukaku, do you remember me now? Please give me flowers. Please give me a review vote. Please give me a collection. Who is this man? Tamari was watching everything on the battlefield from a tree not far away. When she saw that the toad that had been fighting Shukaku was chopped to death with a sword, she felt infinite fear in her heart. Although Konkuro didn't speak, his trembling hands revealed everything. The two stared at each other unscrupulously, and the man quickly noticed. He turned his head, his bright red eyes revealed. Right, Sharingan. What? Haven't all the Uchiha clan been slaughtered? The two of them thought about whether it could be the Uchiha Itachi, but it didn't seem to match the intelligence. The man ignored the two Tamaris. His first priority now was to take down Shukaku. Sasuke also saw Gamabunta's fall. Although the man was very powerful, he was still more worried about Naruto's safety, and then ran quickly to the place where Naruto fell. But Sasuke still felt a sense of familiarity in his heart. The man's attire seemed to be very consistent with a legend in the clan. I hope this is an illusion. If it is true, then the entire ninja world will fall into chaos. Uchiha Xiao controlled Susanna's hand and shook it, shaking Gamabunta's blood off the onikiri. If you want to ask Uchiha Xiao how he feels at this time, it is that he has no feelings at all. Just kick the trash on the side of the road, will anyone ask you what you think? Seeing that the annoying things were gone, Uchiha Xiao looked at one-tail Shukaku, who was shivering over there. Shukaku, long time no see. Shukaku originally had some illusions. Maybe this man just looked like him. Compared with the resurrection of the dead, the resemblance was more credible. However, when Uchiha Xiao used his Susanna, Shukaku's last illusion was shattered. You are already dead, why do you want to come back to the human world? Shukaku took courage and shouted loudly. Uchiha Xiao smiled and shook his head. I haven't seen you for decades. It seems like you have a lot to deal with. Shukaku's pupils shrank. Uchiha Xiao was right. A few decades ago, Shukaku would never have dared to speak to him like this. The next second, Uchiha Xiao's figure suddenly disappeared, and then appeared next to Shukaku. Since you have forgotten me, let me help you recall the horror of being dominated by me. As he spoke, he controlled Susan to raise the famous sword, Onikiri, and swing it down quickly from a high place. Boom! The sword blade fell, the sword was so powerful. With one strike of the sword, a crack appeared in the ground that stretched for hundreds of meters. The huge Onikiri violently collided and rubbed against the earth, sparking a burst of scorching flames within the huge sword mark. From a distance, it looks like a fiery snake is walking here, burning the earth. Oops, it's empty. Uchiha Xiao looked surprised. At this moment, Shukaku was sweating profusely, and his body was even trembling slightly, just because the sword just passed by his body. And he believed that Uchiha Xiao could cut more than one blow with such a sword. Now, remember me. Uchiha Xiao showed a kind smile and looked at Shukaku. 5 seconds later, Shukaku lowered his head and said, I remember, Mr. Xiao. When the two Tamari saw this scene, they were shocked and speechless. Shukaku was a strategic weapon in Sunagaku. Usually, as long as he leaked the slightest breath in the village, the whole village would be on alert. But in front of this Uchiha tribesman, he behaved like a cat. The two of them instantly felt that their world view had collapsed. Chapter 13. Uchiha Xiao, the strongest person since the birth of the Uchiha clan. Please give me flowers. Please give me a review vote. Seeing Shukaku being so knowledgeable, Uchiha Xiao stopped playing. Then, Shukaku, let me give you freedom. With that said, Uchiha Xiao came to Jinchuriki Gaara. At this time, Gaara was still in technique, asleep and unable to wake up. Uchiha Xiao touched Gaara's belly with her hand, and saw a sealing technique instantly appeared on Gaara's belly. HMPH, a clumsy seal. Chakra gathered in his hand, and the next second, the characters on Gaara's belly began to become chaotic and disintegrated. As the seal continues to loosen, Shukaku's power gradually returns to its prime. Shukaku felt the power gradually filling his body and looked up to the sky and roared. Back. Everything is back. Its voice was extremely sharp and soul-stirring, and all the animals that were slightly close to it died due to the explosion of this sound. On the other side, Naruto was rolling on the ground. The death of the toad hit Naruto, a person who didn't have a deep understanding of death. Naruto. Calm down. Sasuke said anxiously from the side, But suddenly, Naruto was rolling, and the seals in his body seemed to be loosening. Nine Tails, I'll deal with you beast later. Uchiha Xiao glanced at Uzumaki Naruto. He could feel the evil and huge Nine Tails chakra in the latter's body, and the seal seemed to be loose. He planned to let Naruto explode the power of Nine Tails. The more power of Nine Tails Naruto used, the easier it would be to break the seal. At this time, Naruto's Nine Tails chakra began to escape in large quantities. Soon, red chakra spread all over Naruto's body, and a tail chakra coat appeared. Naruto's drooping head suddenly raised, and he looked at Uchiha Xiao with eyes filled with hatred. Naruto, calm down. You can't beat this man. Sasuke hugged Naruto's body and shouted in his ear. Who is he? What was rare was that Naruto's mind was still very clear and he was not dazzled by hatred. Sasuke swallowed, looked at Uchiha Xiao's figure, and said. His name is Uchiha Xiao. He is the strongest person since the birth of the Uchiha clan. He is the person who can defeat first Hokage. Although the village has always been very secretive about Uchiha Xiao, because of the strong character of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Xiao's name is often mentioned in the clan. Many elders even lectured the younger ones, saying that they should become as strong as Uchiha Xiao in the future. In the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Xiao's status is no lower than first Hokage. So what? What did you say? Sasuke was shocked when he heard Naruto's words. I said, so what? I only know that he killed Toad Boss, and now he wants to kill Gaara. I can't allow these things to happen. Naruto shouted, and then the chakra on his body became denser, and the chakra coat also advanced into two tails. After saying that, he pushed away Sasuke's blockage, and his whole body hit Uchiha Xiao like a cannonball. Uchiha Xiao turned his head, and he naturally felt Naruto's attacking aura. He looked at Naruto flying over calmly, the chakra on his body began to mobilize, and soon, Susanoo began to transform into a skeleton. Bang! A strong punch hit the red ribs. Susanoo did not move at all, but Naruto spit out a mouthful of blood because of the force of the punch that was beyond his physical strength. If I had only had this strength when I was your age, I would have committed suicide. Naruto ignored Uchiha Xiao's taunt and was about to punch him again. Uchiha Xiao controlled Susanoo to catch Naruto. Naruto. Sasuke watched this scene anxiously from below. Nine Tails Jinchuriki. Looking at Naruto's red pupils, Uchiha Xiao murmured. Sharingan illusion. In an instant, the violent aura on Naruto's body dissipated, and his eyes, which were so red that they were about to bleed, became lifeless. In Naruto's spiritual world. Huh, little brat, why are you here? Are you asking me to lend you strength again? Nine Tails looked at Naruto leisurely. Huh, Nine Tails noticed something was wrong. In the past, whenever Naruto came in, he would definitely yell and make Nine Tails miserable. But now Naruto lowered his head, said nothing, and walked towards Nine Tails' cage step by step like a puppet. His shoes made a tapping sound on the water, and the entire sewer fell into an eerie atmosphere. Kid, Nine Tails noticed something was wrong and shouted to Naruto. At this time, Naruto finally stopped. He stood in front of the seal and raised his head. The blue pupils that were originally like gems were now extremely bright red. The black Magatama spins rapidly. Chapter 14. This battle is finally interesting. Please give me flowers. Please give me a review vote. Please give me a collection. Sharingan. Nine Tails not only saw the bright red Sharingan, but also felt a familiar aura in these eyes. This breath awakened the horror hidden deep in its heart, that black figure. Kid, how did you provoke him? However, Naruto could no longer answer. He walked up to the seal, stretched out his hand, and tore off the spell that sealed Nine Tails. Suddenly, there was a strong wind in the sewer, and the red chakra was violent and restless, running around in Naruto's body. But even so, Nine Tails had no intention of getting out of the iron cage. It shrank into the corner and stared hard at the controlled Naruto. At this time, Naruto spoke, making a cool voice like Uchiha Xiao. Oh, don't you want to come out? Don't want to come out. Nine Tails dreams of coming out, but when it thinks about being driven by Uchiha Xiao, it would rather stay in the seal and never see the light of day. Naruto walked towards Nine Tails and slowly stretched out his hand, but Nine Tails only dared to huddle in the corner when he saw this scene. Haki, who had been the only one for thousands of years, disappeared at this moment. At this moment, a sudden change occurred, interrupting Uchiha Xiao's actions. What did you do to Gaara? In the real world, Temari questioned Uchiha Xiao, picked up the fan in his hand and swung it, and a wind blade struck Uchiha Xiao's Susanoo. Originally, this scratchy attack would not let Uchiha Xiao come out of Naruto's heart, but he keenly sensed that there were some powerful auras coming. In reality, Uchiha Xiao opened his eyes, looked in the direction of the enemy, and murmured. This battle is finally a bit interesting. Soon, the enemy came over, and the first visitor was a white-haired man. Uchiha Xiao's intuition was very good and he recognized the identity of the white-haired man at a glance. Are you from the Hitaki clan? The next second, Kakashi opened the forehead protector covering his left eye, and the three Magatama pieces rotated and combined to form the shape of a Fuma Shuriken. Kamui. The next second, a force that could distort space appeared on Susanoo's right arm, and the force was very powerful. Soon, the chakra coat wrapped around Susan was shattered, followed by Susan's flesh, blood, and bones. Click. There was a chilling sound of shattering, and Susan's right arm was broken off, and Naruto, who was in a coma, fell with it. Whoosh. Might Guy, who was covered in green light, suddenly appeared. He caught Naruto in a flash, mobilized all the chakra in his body, and moved away from Uchiha Xiao at full speed. The whole action was very fast, taking less than 5 seconds. Is your injury okay? Kakashi used the forehead protector to cover Sharingan again and asked Might Guy. No problem. Might Guy performed his signature moves again, but the sweat dripping from his forehead still revealed that he was not in that good condition at the moment. Regarding everything that happened above, Uchiha Xiao has been watching with cold eyes, as if he was an outsider. Seeing the two rescue Naruto, he just controlled Susan and calmly picked up the onikiri that fell to the ground. Chapter 15. Uchiha Xiao. The game officially begins. Please give me flowers. Please give me a review vote. Please give me a collection. Wood-style wood dragon technique. Boom. A majestic wooden dragon emerged from the ground and entangled Susanna at an extremely fast speed. Feeling the tremendous power of restraint, Uchiha Xiao smiled instead of getting angry, finally no longer hiding, Hashirama. Where Uchiha Xiao's eyes fell, several figures flashed out. First Hokage Senju Hashirama, second Hokage Senju Tobirama, third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, Sannin Jiraiya. Feeling the strong breath of the four people, Uchiha Xiao showed a relieved smile. That's right. It finally gives me some fighting spirit. It turns out that Uchiha Xiao was indifferent to a few people rescuing Naruto just now because he wanted these people to have a good fight with him. After hearing Uchiha Xiao's arrogant words, several people in Konoha didn't look very good. Jiraiya looked at Uchiha Xiao with heavy eyes. He had just received information from the toad from Mount Myoboku, and Toad Bunta died at the hands of Uchiha Xiao. Now that he came to the battlefield, Wentai's huge body was lying there, which made his heart feel a little heavier. The battle soon started, the first generation put their hands together, and the Senju family's huge chakra began to mobilize. The next second, I saw that the wooden dragon on Susanna's body became a little bigger. The body of the wooden dragon also split into many thick wooden roots, wrapping Susan tightly. Seeing that Susan was restrained, the others also understood the principle of taking advantage of your illness to kill you, and immediately flew forward to attack Susan. Please be careful not to look into his eyes. After the reminder from second generation, make a mudra with your hands. Water-style water-severing wave. Second generation opens its mouth and spits out, and a thin line of water flies out at high speed. This technique is second generation's unique skill. It is like a sharp blade with extremely high destructive power. It can easily tear the target into pieces and is incredibly powerful. The goal of second generation is to break through Susan's super high defense, but Uchiha Xiao will not sit still and wait for death. Two simple seals were formed in his hands, and a thick stone wall appeared out of thin air, blocking the place where the water-severing wave was about to attack. Seeing this, Jiraiya was not idle either. Several of his body flicker techniques went around to the other side of Uchiha Xiao. Summoning technique. A green toad carrying two swords was summoned. Hiro Toma, this time, I'm asking you to. Jiraiya stood on top of Hiroshi Toma, looking ashamed. He believed that he indirectly killed Gamabunta. Is he the one who killed the boss? Togahiro looked at the aloof Uchiha Xiao with a cold voice. Well, did you bring the toad oil? Bring it. Jiraiya is an expert at using fire style, and one of his special fire style moves is particularly powerful. Fire style toad oil flame bomb. Boom. A huge ball of flames erupted from Jiraiya's mouth, and then combined with the toad oil in Toad Guang's mouth. In an instant, the power of the flames increased exponentially. Because the temperature was too high, the fiery red flames turned into a thick dark red, looking like flames coming out of hell. The extremely high temperature outer flames distorted the space, and the huge flame bullets streaked through the air like a meteorite flying into the sky, heading straight towards Susan. Everyone looked at the powerful fire style, and a glimmer of hope flashed in their hearts. With such power, they didn't believe that Susanoo could not break it. Water style Grand Falls technique. Seeing Uchiha Xiao perform water style, Jiraiya showed a proud smile. Fire style stained with toad oil is not so easy to extinguish. Fang. A large amount of water hit the fireball, and in an instant, steam evaporated and filled the entire sky. However, at this moment, Uchiha Xiao's hands began to change rapidly. Fire bullet technique, I learned it. Bang. The waterfall was still pouring down, but a ball of flames suddenly appeared. What? Jiraiya's pupils shrank. He didn't expect Uchiha Xiao to copy and learn his ninjutsu so quickly. Jiraiya's fire bullet was somewhat weakened by the large waterfall. At this moment, it was offset by Uchiha Xiao's fire bullet. Boom. A huge explosion occurred in midair, and the thick black smoke and red light in the sky seemed to burn a hole in the sky. Susan took action and swung out his sword, driving Jiraiya and the second generation some distance away. Uchiha Xiao looked at everyone condescendingly, and then looked at Shukaku aside. Is it done? Shukaku twisted his body. It had been decades since he felt all his power coming back, and then he burst into a shocking howl. Listening to Shukaku's energetic voice, Uchiha Xiao also smiled and said loudly. The game has officially begun. Chapter 16. Tailed Beast Bomb. Please give me flowers. Please give me collections. Please give me evaluation votes. Gaara, wake up quickly. Temari held Gaara's cold body and cried loudly. Although Gaara is usually unkind, she and Kankuro still treat him as a younger brother. But at this moment, their loved ones are dying in front of their eyes. How can they not be sad? Kankuro clenched his fists and looked at Uchiha Xiao tremblingly, but soon, a deep feeling of powerlessness swept through his body. Looking at the huge Susanoo, Kankuro was confused. Can he still take revenge in this life? At this time, a large number of Konoha troops and Sunagaku troops also came to the battlefield. The ninjas of Sunagaku first saw Shukaku being released, and then saw the dead Gaara. They didn't expect that with a plan to collapse Konoha, not only the Kazekage would be impersonated by Orochimaru, but his life and death would be unknown. Even Gaara, the most powerful weapon in the village, died, and Shukaku lost control. Suddenly, an aura of sadness spread throughout the Sand Shinobi troops. Sunagaku, the future is bleak. Naruto also woke up at this time, and when he saw the lifeless Gaara, the anger in his heart burned again. Nine Tails' chakra coat once again spread all over Naruto's body. It seemed that because the seal disappeared and Nine Tails gave in, Naruto did not lose his mind because of Nine Tails' chakra. Naruto, calm down. A big hand patted Naruto's shoulder. Naruto looked back and exclaimed. Pervy Sage. Then, Naruto showed a sad look. Pervy Sage. Boss Toad, was killed. Jiraiya's face was calm. I know. You know. Then why don't you go up and avenge the Toad? Naruto shouted. Jiraiya said. Just because you want revenge, you can't rush in when your head gets hot. While the master and apprentice were arguing, third generation spoke up to remind everyone. No, it's Tailed Beast Bomb. At this time, everyone also discovered the big black ball condensing in one tail's mouth. Looking at the gradually growing Tailed Beast Bomb, the sense of crisis in everyone's hearts also grew. The three Hokages looked solemn. The three of them have all seen the power of the Tailed Beast Bomb. The extreme release of the Tailed Beast Bomb can destroy a ninja village and several mountains. That is absolutely no problem. Shukaku's Tailed Beast Bomb might not be that powerful now, but it was still more than enough to kill hundreds of their ninjas. At this critical moment, First Generation appeared, and he quickly commanded many Konoha ninjas. If you know Earth style, come out. Dozens of ninjas came out of the queue. They obeyed the command of First Generation. As soon as they saw the Tailed Beast Bomb being launched, they immediately used the Earth Flow Wall in combination. Call out. The Tailed Beast Bomb struck quickly like a missile. Wherever it passed, a deep ravine was plowed into the ground. The extremely fast speed even produced a sonic boom, and bursts of piercing sounds could be heard. Earth style wall. Dozens of ninjas pressed their hands to the ground, and the chakra on their bodies began to mobilize rapidly. Boom. A tall and thick earth wall rises from the ground. This high wall is thicker and more solid than Konoha's wall. At a glance, you can feel the unparalleled sense of security. Boom. Bang. Soon, Tailed Beast Bomb hit the wall that everyone had high hopes for. A strong earthquake was felt, and the thick earth wall began to shake violently, and soon it was about to collapse. Slowly, Tailed Beast Bomb's momentum did not weaken, and everyone was surprised to find that the earth wall had already cracked many cracks. Tailed Beast Bomb's violent chakra pokes out of the cracks. There is no doubt that this wall will not hold up. What a desperate scene this is. Many ninjas knelt on the ground, either stating their last words or welcoming death. No one still had fighting spirit in their heart. Just when everyone was desperate, a white figure suddenly appeared in front of everyone. Under everyone's surprised eyes, Kakashi opened his forehead protector to reveal Sharingan. Kamui. In an instant, a twisted force appeared in the middle of the Tailed Beast Bomb, like a whirlpool in the sea, swallowing up everything around it. Soon, the massive Tailed Beast Bomb was swallowed up by Kamui, leaving only the broken earth wall, explaining the dangerous scene just now. Bang. Kakashi was half kneeling on the ground. He was already so weak that when two Kamui shots were fired, his body was almost hollowed out. First Generation and Second Generation looked at Kakashi curiously. I didn't expect that people who are not from the Uchiha clan can also use Mangekyō Sharingan. But no matter what, everyone was relieved that Uchiha Xiao's offensive failed. But at this moment, Uchiha Xiao's voice appeared. You seem to think that there is only one Tailed Beast Bomb. A word that wakes up the dreamer. Everyone quickly looked at Shukaku, and saw Shukaku holding his head high, the two types of blue and black chakra slowly converging, and the second dangerous Tailed Beast Bomb formed in Shukaku's mouth again. Seeing this scene, some unsteady ninjas shook their heads slightly, murmuring, and seemed to have collapsed. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that Kakashi can no longer use Kamui in his current state. Kakashi breathed heavily. Even though he was sweating like rain, he continued. I can still use Kamui again. Whoosh. No need, Kakashi. At this time, the figure of third generation stood in front of everyone. Kakashi can indeed cast Kamui once, but the price is his life. Third generation. Kakashi looked at third generation weakly. Third generation smiled and said, "Let me burn myself, you juniors still have a long way to go." Lord Hokage, everyone exclaimed, feeling sad that the third generation sacrificed their lives for justice. Third generation turned around and smiled. Well, this is the will of fire after all. After saying that, he looked at the tailed beast bomb, which was one size larger than before, and thought in his mind. I heard that the forbidden technique that can seal everything is the forbidden technique that can seal everything. I wonder if this tailed beast bomb can seal it. Third generation was pondering in his heart, and his hands had begun to form the seal of the dead ghost. Just when he was not halfway through the seal, a hand grabbed him and stopped third generation from forming the seal. Old teacher. The third generation looked over in shock, only to see that it was the second generation that blocked the third generation's seal. Monkey, have you forgotten us seniors? How can it be your juniors' turn to take action when we are here? First generation also said with a smile. After speaking, he clapped his hands and shouted. Wood-style tree boundary wall. The next second, countless huge tree roots and vines rose from the ground and bent themselves to form a shield shape to cover the ninjas. Second generation stood on the tree boundary wall, formed seals with his hands, and began to mobilize a large amount of chakra on his body. Water-style water barrier. Water barrier is a relatively basic water-style ninjutsu, but it appears to be huge in the hands of second generation. He opened his mouth and spat out, and a huge amount of water gathered in front of the tree boundary wall, and then turned into a high water wall. Soon, Shukaku's tailed beast bomb struck again. This time, the tailed beast bomb was much larger and more powerful than the previous one. Boom. Tailed beast bomb flew past and made a piercing sonic boom. Boom. The tailed beast bomb first hit the second generation's water barrier. The second generation's water barrier was both strong and soft, like a human hand, directly holding the tailed beast bomb so that it could not move forward. However, this was only a temporary defense after all. After persisting for a while, the tailed beast bomb still broke through the water barrier, but fortunately part of its power was weakened by the water barrier. Buzz. The tailed beast bomb hit the hard tree boundary wall, making a harsh and deafening sound. The next second, the tailed beast bomb turned into a burst of white light, and then began to split and explode. Boom. Dazzling white light shot into the sky, and black smoke and dust were like blood gushing out after a major artery was cut. Dying most of the forest. Chapter 17. Blast first generation, second Hokage to pieces. Please give me flowers. Please give me a review vote. Please give me a collection. Crack. Boom. The tree boundary wall of first generation began to fall, and when all the trees peeled off, only the protected Konoha shinobi were seen unscathed. They looked at their hands in shock, then looked outside. I saw that everything around me had turned into scorched earth. The blackened land and the curling smoke all foreshadowed the horrific scene that had just happened here. The third generation stood up and found the first generation and the second generation whose bodies had been blown to pieces. He quickly stepped forward and wanted to do something for the two of them. Call out. A huge short sword flew from midair and hit third generation hard. The third generation did not dare to be too confident, so he evaded the attack of the huge short sword in a blink of an eye. He recognized that this short sword was Gamabunta's exclusive weapon. The next second, Uchiha Xiao's figure appeared on the hilt of short sword. Don't worry, Sarutobi boy. Uchiha Xiao waved his hand casually, and with a loud noise, Shukaku came to his side. Sealed the two brothers of the Senju family. After hearing Uchiha Xiao's words, all the Konoha shinobi were angry, but due to Shukaku's power, no one dared to step forward. Desert Lair Burial Seal, Shukaku monster yelled, then smashed his hands straight to the ground, and his hands turned into quicksand, gathering towards the first generation and second generation. At this time, the bodies of first generation and second generation finally began to slowly come together, but it was too slow. The two were already in Shukaku's seal, and the sand on Shukaku's body was forming a pyramid shape. Dense sealing techniques were spread all over the pyramid, and the two of them also found that it was difficult to mobilize the chakra in their bodies. At this time, a pair of feet appeared in front of them. Uchiha Xiao walked up to the two of them, leaned down and said, Senju Hashirama, think about it, you didn't take the tailed beast bomb seriously in the past, right? Now you are wiped out by this small blow. How ironic. First generation did not pay attention to Uchiha Xiao's verbal attack, but asked sharply. What are you going to do now? We are already dead and should not interfere with the lives of living people. I want to be fully resurrected. Uchiha Xiao said calmly. What? First generation showed a rare look of shock. Uchiha Xiao looked into first generation's eyes and said decisively. I said I would be fully resurrected and then correct this wrong world. Hearing this answer, first generation, as the architect of today's ninja world order, was not angry, but said with a complicated expression. You still can't let go of Reina. The breeze blew by, creating an unpleasant smell in the smoke-filled earth coiling. Uchiha Xiao's face was stern, and his two Sharingans were extremely bright red. You have no right to mention her name. After finishing speaking, he turned to Shukaku and said, intensify your efforts. As soon as he finished speaking, the speed of the seal began to accelerate. Soon, the first generation and second generation were completely covered. The magnificent pyramid became the final tomb of the first generation and the second generation. Ape Demon. Golden Cudgel. At this time, an old voice appeared, and third generation held a golden hoop and flew toward Uchiha Xiao. Seeing this situation, Uchiha Xiao didn't hesitate, picked up the weapon and attacked third generation. Third generation always remembers one thing: you cannot look into the eyes of the Uchiha people. So, when the battle begins, third generation moved its gaze downwards. But the next scene made his heart and lungs skip a beat. I saw a pool of water stains on the ground at some point. And Uchiha Xiao was staring at third generation through the water stains with red eyes. Chapter 18. Third Hokage, dead. Please give me flowers. Please give me a review vote. Please give me a collection. Clang. Everyone discovered that the third generation had fallen into the illusion at some point. He was stunned and the weapons in his hands had long been released. Sarutobi, wake up. The golden hoop that fell to the ground revealed one eye and shouted loudly. However, illusion is Uchiha's special skill, and with the blessing of Sharingan, it has been improved to a higher level. It is not so easy to solve. Whoosh. A kunai slipped from his sleeve. Uchiha Xiao smiled, shook one hand, and pointed the kunai directly at the third generation's throat. At this moment, a person emerged from the crowd. It was the ninja of the Yuhi clan in Konoha village, Yuhi Kurenai. Go to hell. Saying that, Yuhi Hong formed a seal with her hands and threw an illusion to Uchiha Xiao very skillfully. Fall Sakura Naomi technique. The petals of Sakura flowers sprinkled down from the sky, and the refreshing fragrance of Sakura flowers penetrated into Uchiha Xiao's nostrils. Soon, a heavy feeling of sleep swept over his body. Uchiha Xiao felt it for a moment, and then coldly snorted. Humph, you're just doing your homework. He somewhat admired Yuhi Kurenai's courage for actually daring to use genjutsu in front of the Uchiha tribe. Sharingan illusion. Illusion rebound. Sharingan's red light exploded, and the illusion attack was immediately reflected back to Kurenai Yuhi. As sleepiness came over, Kurenai Yuhi fell to the ground. Although Yuhi Kurenai's attack was ineffective, it did prevent Uchiha Xiao from killing third generation. Seeing that his father and lover were about to be hurt, Asuma couldn't sit still. He opened his mouth and spat out, and a cloud of black smoke enveloped Uchiha Xiao. Fire-style ashes burning. However, before the ash accumulation could begin to explode, a strong wind exploded from the black smoke, instantly blowing the black smoke away. Asuma was also shocked. He marveled at the speed of Uchiha Xiao's seal formation. Almost as soon as the black smoke enveloped him, Uchiha Xiao completed the seal and used wind style to blow away the black smoke. It's not over yet. Asuma took out the chakra knife and injected wind style chakra into the chakra knife. The next second, two beams of glowing blue chakra knives enveloped Asuma's knife. This is Asuma's unique skill, the chakra knife. The sharpness of this technique can cut iron like clay. Chakra knife Shinichimonji. Asuma turned into an afterimage, and the blue sword light left two bright traces in the air. Whoosh. Asuma's pupils shrank. Gone. Uchiha Xiao's figure disappeared. Just when he was confused, a sharp pain appeared from his abdomen, and then the perspective quickly retreated. When Asuma fully reacted, he had already flown upside down. Uchiha Xiao chuckled, put away his feet, and the kunai in his hand turned into an afterimage, and was sent straight to the third generation's neck. At this moment, time seemed to stop. All the ninjas jumped up and ran towards the third generation regardless of their lives. Kakashi opened his forehead protector and planned to activate the last Kamui. At this time, a figure faster than everyone appeared. 8 inner gates formation. Opened the door. With a loud noise, a blur of green light passed through the crowd and hit Uchiha Xiao like a cannonball. Uchiha Xiao also felt this breath. Susanoo. Susanoo quickly formed and advanced to his second form. However, the might guy who opened the 7th gate should not be underestimated. His kick was like a meteor, hitting Susanoo hard. Boom. After a powerful and heavy blow, everyone heard a crackling sound, followed by the sound of collapse. Uchiha Xiao's Susanoo, broken. At the same time, both Uchiha Xiao and Susanoo were kicked away by Guy. Might Guy quickly looked at third generation, only to see that there was already a wound in third generation's neck, and blood had spread all over his chest. Third generation. Might Guy picked up third generation's body. He felt it for a while, and finally could only say tremblingly. Third generation, passed away. As soon as these words came out, all the Konoha shinobi fell into a brief silence. What followed was full of anger. As the longest ruling Hokage in Konoha village, the third generation is highly respected in the hearts of all Konoha people. If news of the third generation's death reaches Konoha village at this time, the entire Konoha will be plunged into grief. At this time, Uchiha Xiao walked slowly from a distance. He patted the dust on his body calmly, as if he had just swatted a mosquito to death. He said calmly, okay, the Sarutobi boy is dead. Now we should talk about the second thing. I want to get your Sharingan back. Uchiha Xiao stretched out her hand and pointed at Kakashi's right eye. Chapter 19. Well, Kakashi, I will accept your eyes. Please collect it. Please send flowers. Please vote for evaluation. Kakashi was half kneeling on the ground. He was already exhausted and didn't even have the energy to talk to Uchiha Xiao. I will not allow anyone who is not Uchiha to get involved in Sharingan. If you are wise, dig out your eyes yourself. Uchiha Xiao said the bloodiest words in the calmest tone. This, I'm afraid it won't work. My best friend gave it to me. Kakashi said weakly. Uchiha Xiao's eyes were indifferent. Seeing that Kakashi had no intention of repenting, he slowly said a few words. Okay, I'll accept your eyes. After finishing speaking, Uchiha Xiao controlled Susanoo and nimbly rushed into the enemy formation. Susanoo's power is unstoppable. Several ninjas blocking the road appeared, and Susan waved, Onikiri. In an instant, several ninjas turned into rain of blood. Boom. The weak Kakashi could not block Susan's blow. In just a moment, he was caught in Susan's hand. Uchiha Xiao moved very quickly. He flew in front of Kakashi without any hesitation. Bah, ah, a chilling voice sounded, and everyone looked and saw that Kakashi's left eye was hollow and bleeding. And Uchiha Xiao was standing in front of Kakashi, holding a Sharingan in his hand, admiring the Sharingan with the light of the sun. When everyone was shocked, Kakashi Guy saw his friend in danger, and his taboos were further broken. He turned into a whirlwind and came to meet Uchiha Xiao. The red color on his body was even brighter, and the green light around him was even more lush. He moved his fists, and Uchiha Xiao felt it, feeling an indescribable force gathering in Might Guy's fists. Hiratora. Day Tiger is an advanced physical technique used by Might Guy after he opened the seventh gate. The air is first compressed and then diffused in one breath. The shape of the air cannon even forms a visual tiger, which is extremely powerful. One blow can even cause erosion for several miles. Uchiha Xiao raised his eyebrows, and the Susanoo on his body immediately turned into the fourth form. Boom. A white tiger opened its eyes angrily and hit Susanoo hard. The Karasu Tengu armor on Susanoo began to break into pieces. Susanoo in the fourth stage was hit hard by a punch. Uchiha Xiao couldn't help but show admiration. With such strength, Sengoku could defeat all the invincible opponents in the world. At this time, Might Guy was also very surprised. He knew the power of this punch very well. Unexpectedly, this punch only severely damaged Susanoo's outer shell, leaving Uchiha Xiao inside unscathed. Pervy Sage. Go up and help. Naruto looked at Jiraiya, his voice choked before he finished speaking. Because he found that there were 2 red marks under Jiraiya's eyes, and his eyes became like those of a toad. Okay, Pervy Sage. Naruto was shocked by Jiraiya's appearance. At this time, Jiraiya spoke up. Didn't I say it? Revenge is not something you rush into when your brain gets hot. After saying that, Jiraiya's figure disappeared, his figure leapt in the air, he stretched out his hand, and a high-speed rotating chakra ball suddenly appeared. Sage Art Massive Rasengan. Chapter 20. Public Ninja. Uchiha Xiao, the god of death, is finally gone. Please give me flowers. Please vote for me. Please collect. With the blessing of the magic chakra, this massive Rasengan not only forms very quickly, but is even more powerful than ordinary ones. Roar. It's a different energy. The keen Uchiha Xiao noticed the existence of the magic chakra and became a little interested. Then he manipulated Susanoo to pick up the Onikiri and place it across his chest. The massive Rasengan blasted straight towards Susanoo, and with a dazzling light, an explosion resounded across the deserted battlefield. When the smoke and dust dissipated, they saw Susanoo, who was already broken, but could be said to be seriously injured at this time. All the Karasutengu armor on Susanoo's body had fallen off, and most of the flesh and blood covering it had disappeared, revealing large areas of bones. If he did it 2 more times, Susanoo's defense would definitely be broken. Sage Art Thousands of Wool Needles. Jiraiya flicked his hair, and the hard strands of hair shot towards Susanoo like thousands of senbons, like a heavy rain attack by thousands of senbons. Uchiha Xiao formed a seal with his hands, and a wind-style great breakthrough blew away all the dense thousands of books. It's really watertight. Jiraiya took a few steps back, and he found that this Uchiha Xiao seemed to be too versatile. Not only can he master all the 5 escape ninjutsu, but he has also practiced taijutsu, genjutsu, and blood succession limits to a very high level. How come such a person is an enemy? Jiraiya thought so in his heart. Might Guy and Jiraiya took a few steps back after the attack, waiting for Uchiha Xiao to counterattack. However, Uchiha Xiao did not have this idea. He seemed to feel something. He squatted down and pressed his fingers to the ground. As soon as he uses the sensing ninjutsu, everything around him is under his control. There are a lot of people here. He murmured, then opened his eyes and looked at everyone present. Might Guy and Jiraiya were so powerful that he couldn't kill them for a while, but just as he sensed it, Konoha and Sand Shinobi sent a lot of reinforcements, plus the surrounding root ninjas who were secretly observing. All in all, there are tens of thousands of enemies. This couldn't help but remind him of a few decades ago, when he killed tens of thousands of ninja coalition forces, and the situation was even more critical than now. Although I now have immortality and infinite chakra thanks to the Impure world reincarnation, theoretically, I can consume the people of Konoha to death here. But after all, his strength is less than 1/5 of his original strength. Coupled with the decades of development of the Jonin world, there must be many secret techniques that he doesn't know. At that time, it will be very unworthy to capsize in the gutter because of pride and complacency. If he is completely resurrected and regains all his strength, there is no need to care about this rabble. Because after recovering all his pupil power, he can use the ability of his right eye, time stop. In his prime, his right eye had the ability to stop time for 5 seconds. But now that the pupil power is less than 1/5, there is no way to use the pupil technique of the right eye. So Uchiha Xiao thought over and over again and finally decided to retreat now. But before retreating, Uchiha Xiao looked at the Sharingan in his hand. Whoosh! He suddenly came to the front of the battle, quickly picked a young ninja with good chakra quality, and then threw a Sharingan illusion over him. Kamita. The person being controlled was a male ninja. Someone who knew him wanted to stop him, but how could Uchiha Xiao's illusion be so easy to break? After Kamita dodged several attacks, a body flicker technique came to Uchiha Xiao. Without saying a word, Uchiha Xiao directly dug out one of Kamita's eyes, and then used healing jutsu to transplant the Sharingan into Kamita's eye. At this time, Might Guy and Jiraiya were about to rush over. They saw their companions from the same village having their eyes gouged out, and they suddenly became angry. Flying over, Uchiha Xiao will be punished on the spot. Uchiha Xiao looked at the people coming and calmly started his arrangements. He first asked one-tail Shukaku to leave this place, and then summoned it over if he needed it. Then with a thought, Kamita on the side instantly activated the Mangekyō Sharingan secret technique. Kamui. The twisted force appeared out of thin air, and then a dark space came into view. Uchiha Xiao and Kamita got into the space, and Jiraiya and Might Guy also jumped into the air. It seemed that God was relieved because of Uchiha Xiao's departure, and the originally dark cloudy sky suddenly became clear. The cool wind blew by, waking up the ninjas from their numbness. At this time, the large army finally arrived, and thousands of Konoha shinobi rushed over in a mighty manner. We're here now, but the god of death has already left. Someone complained dissatisfiedly. This god of death is finally gone. Many ninjas breathed a sigh of relief. Many old ninjas who have experienced the baptism of war lamented that this brief confrontation with Uchiha Xiao was more difficult than fighting a war that lasted several years. Chapter 21. Danzo, is this Susanoo's strength? Please give me flowers. Please give me a review vote. Please give me a collection. The Second Ninja War, the Third Ninja War, and the invasion of Nine Tails, each of these events brought suffering to Konoha, but they were all solved by Konoha. But this time against Uchiha Xiao, there was no doubt that it was a disastrous defeat that Konoha had never seen in decades. The third generation died in the battle, Kakashi lost an eye, and more than a dozen Konoha shinobi were affected and killed. At this moment, Konoha was in a situation of letterlessness, internal and external troubles, and a look of worry spread across Konoha's ninja troops. The only consolation for Konoha is that Konoha's current enemy, Sunagaku, is in a worse situation. The Kazekage disappeared, Gaara died in battle, one-tail Shukaku was abducted by Uchiha Xiao, and the entire village was tricked by Orochimaru into going to war, but nothing has been gained so far. If Danzo was ordered to take power later, it wouldn't be long before Konoha's troops arrived at Sunagaku's doorstep. On the battlefield, ninjas were in mourning. Kakashi was put on a stretcher and prepared to go back to Konoha Hospital to treat his injuries. He was afraid that he would have to rest for a long time. 2 rounds of Kamui in a long battle had already exhausted his body. Although Might Guy's condition is better than Kakashi's, he is still average. Opening the 8 inner gates to the 7th gate is already harmful to the body. Jiraiya was okay in all aspects. He was not overly exhausted due to his celestial skills, and his body was not injured. He now had the highest position in the entire battlefield, so he commanded the Konoha shinobi to clean up the battlefield. But the defense in his heart has not been put down much because the battle is over. Uchiha Xiao, who is pregnant with Kamui, can appear at any time to catch them off guard. The scene switches to Konoha village at this time, the root department hidden deep underground. Shimura Danzo is in a secret room, thinking about Uchiha Xiao's Sharingan in his heart. I didn't expect that this Uchiha Xiao could actually control Shisui's eyes. The dim light swept across Danzo's eyes. If there were anyone else here at this time, they would have seen the greed in Danzo's eyes that could not be concealed. What a powerful ability. As he said this, Danzo took off his shirt and stroked Sharingan's entire arm. Buzz. A strange noise came, and Danzo immediately became alert and looked towards the place where the sound came from. I saw that the space in front of me was constantly distorting, and the next second, a black figure walked out of the mysterious space. Black hair, black armor, and a handsome face adorned with 2 bright red Sharingans. There was a male ninja who followed Uchiha Xiao out behind. You, Uchiha Xiao, how did you get here? Danzo was not excited when he saw Sharingan, whom he had been thinking about for a while, but was filled with panic. Just now, Danzo was afraid of what kind of powerful enemy was coming, so he did not put away the Sharingan in his arms, so he could see everything at a glance. Uchiha Xiao saw this scene as soon as she came out of Kamui's space. Put a Sharingan on your arm. You can think of that. At this time, Danzo also calmed down a little. Since Uchiha Xiao didn't start a fight with him immediately, it meant that there was still room for discussion. Danzo's mind was spinning very fast. Now that Uchiha Xiao is back unscathed, does that mean that? Danzo's eyes sparkled with an inexplicable light. Where's Sarutobi Hiruzen? What did you do to him? Oh, kill him. Uchiha Xiao's words were very casual, as if he was saying that he had trampled an ant to death. Even though Danzo was mentally prepared for this, he was shocked when he heard Uchiha Xiao's personal admission. There was a flash of sadness at the death of an old friend, and then there was overwhelming joy. Are you happy that he is dead? Danzo did not answer Uchiha Xiao's question. He observed Uchiha Xiao and then spotted the man behind Uchiha Xiao. He was surprised to find that one of the man's eyes was a Sharingan, or a Mangekyō Sharingan. Then he guessed that the weird space ninjutsu just now was probably this Sharingan. Then Danzo deduced from the position of the eye that this was probably Kakashi's left eye. Could it be that Kakashi also died in the hands of Uchiha Xiao? Danzo had many thoughts, then looked at Uchiha Xiao and said. If I guess correctly, you are still in the state of impure world reincarnation, right? You are immortal, but your strength is only less than 1/5 of what you were in life. Uchiha Xiao raised his head slightly. If you have anything to say, just say it. Danzo showed a smile that he thought was very kind and said. I can raise your strength to its prime and truly resurrect you. How about this condition? After hearing Danzo's words, Uchiha Xiao's originally calm face gradually lost control, and finally his expression management got out of control. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Listening to Uchiha Xiao's wild laughter, Danzo's smile gradually became unnatural. After a while, Uchiha Xiao's wild laughter finally ended, his expression turned into contempt, and he said bluntly. Why do you and that person named Orochimaru think you are qualified to cooperate with me? Hearing this, Danzo's smile disappeared immediately, and then his tone became stiff. What do you mean? I mean, do you think you are worthy of discussing cooperation with me? Uchiha Xiao stared into Danzo's eyes, which were filled with the toughness of a king. Before Danzo could refute, the next second, a red bone suddenly appeared and hit Danzo without any explanation. Boom. The skeleton hit the ground, a terrifying network crack appeared on the ground, and Danzo quickly hid in the air. Danzo was in midair, and while hiding, his hands were not idle. Wind-style vacuum sphere. Danzo took a deep breath, then opened his mouth and let it out. Several wind balls are compressed and shot out at high speed like bullets. Normally, as long as this move hits the enemy, it can shoot the enemy into a honeycomb. However, these powerful wind masses were just a step away from Susan. Bang, bang, bang. The wind hit Susanoo, but Susan was unharmed. Danzo took another deep breath, and then exhaled. Wind style. Vacuum waves. This is Danzo's special skill, spitting out several wind blades as sharp as a sickle and weasel. In the past, when this technique was used, the enemy would be chopped into minced meat by the sharp breath. But now, such a proud blow had no impact on Susanoo. Susanoo's Uchiha Xiao watched everything Danzo did indifferently, as if he was watching a circus performance. Danzo fell to the ground, looked at the majestic Susan with a red light, and murmured unconsciously. Is this Susanoo's strength? In Danzo's eyes, except for some fear, the rest is full of greed. Chapter 22. Danzo begs for mercy before he dies. Please give me flowers. Please give me a review vote. Please give me a collection. Feeling the extremely aggressive gaze, Uchiha Xiao said with cold eyes. I don't like the look in your eyes. As soon as he finished speaking, Uchiha Xiao launched his attack as if at double speed. So fast. Danzo's pupils shrank. Uchiha Xiao's sudden increase in speed caught Danzo off guard. With a loud bang, Susanoo's fist hit Danzo hard, and Danzo's body was embedded in the wall. Flesh and blood flowed out of the broken wall, and Uchiha Xiao felt it. Died. This strength is a bit weaker than the boy from the Sarutobi family. Uchiha Xiao walked towards Danzo's body, and just when he was about to take off Danzo's Sharingan, Danzo's body suddenly disappeared. Wind-style kunai. Uchiha Xiao turned around and saw Danzo appearing behind him with his body intact and holding a kunai empowered by wind-style. Danzo's speed is very good, but in front of Sharingan, it is all in vain. Snapped. Uchiha Xiao squeezed Danzo's hand, and then he jumped up and kicked. In an instant, Danzo flew upside down like a kite that had lost its string. Uchiha Xiao discovered the problem. He noticed that a Sharingan on Danzo's arm that was originally open had its eyes closed. Soon, he understood Danzo's methods. Izanagi. I didn't expect that this forbidden technique was also mastered by him. Izanagi is the secret technique of the Uchiha clan. It is an invincible eye technique that can revive the caster even after death. However, because the cost was too high, this technique was listed as the family's forbidden technique by Uchiha very early on. After so many years, it stands to reason that even the Uchiha clan should have few people who know this technique, but this person who is not an Uchiha. Danzo climbed up from the rubble with difficulty. When he looked up, he saw Uchiha Xiao in his red eyes. Izanagi, boy, how did you learn this technique? Danzo seemed to find that there seemed to be a lot of anger hidden under those Sharingans. Danzo didn't want to answer Uchiha Xiao's question, and launched another desperate attack on Uchiha Xiao. Obsessive. Onikiri. The red Onikiri flew high and slashed towards Danzo. Now Uchiha Xiao's strategy is, as long as he keeps killing Danzo, when the Sharingan is used up, Danzo will naturally die. Danzo seemed to understand Uchiha Xiao's thoughts. This time, he did not plan to use Sharingan. Wood-style thrusting spear. Danzo exposed his pale arm, and the next second, his arm suddenly turned into a huge spiraling tree root. Although it was a tree root, it was as hard as steel. With one strike, the hard thrusting spear fell apart, but Danzo escaped with his life. There is actually wood style. In the decades since I was gone, there have been more and more interesting things. Seeing Danzo repeatedly making strange moves, Uchiha Xiao found it very interesting. However, Danzo was in very bad shape at this time. How many times could he perform a ninjutsu-like thrusting spear? With a thought, Uchiha Xiao immediately controlled Susanna to hit Danzo's arm full of Sharingan. Boom. After the loud noise, Danzo's figure disappeared again, and the Sharingan on his arm closed again. Although he escaped with his life, Danzo clearly knew that the strength gap between himself and Uchiha Xiao was really huge. In front of Uchiha Xiao, Izanagi could not turn defeat into victory, but instead became a chronic suicide that repeatedly tortured himself. As for breaking through Uchiha Xiao's defense, he was convinced that he didn't have a single technique that could do this. Escape. But Uchiha Xiao's speed was beyond his reach, and running away would only accelerate his death. Countless ideas were eliminated one by one in Danzo's mind, and it seemed that only one method was left. Danzo collapsed on the ground. He looked at Uchiha Xiao who was walking slowly and made a dying begging for mercy. Master Xiao, I am ashamed of the Uchiha clan, but I hope you can spare my life. I can provide you with Senju Hashirama's cells unconditionally to resurrect you. Chapter 23. Uchiha clan survivors. Uchiha Itachi, Uchiha Sasuke. Uchiha Xiao really wanted to be resurrected, but between resurrection and the honor of his family, he chose the latter without hesitation. You are so involved in Uchiha's bloodline and you still expect me to spare your life. Looking at Uchiha Xiao's unwavering eyes, Danzo understood that today might be his death day. However, he is not a person who is willing to die in peace. He had read through the history of Konoha, and he understood that Uchiha Xiao had a strong hatred for Konoha. If he and Sarutobi died, no one in Konoha could stop Uchiha Xiao. He couldn't accept the destruction of Konoha. Thinking of this, Danzo had an idea in his mind. Be sure to keep Uchiha Xiao here forever. Smelly monkey, I didn't expect that we would die on the same day. Danzo suddenly unbuttoned his clothes and exposed his upper body, with dark spells all over his body. Li 4 Elephant's seal. Danzo first howled in pain, and then the blood all over his body spurted out, and the seal of the 4 symbols that had been engraved on his body began to expand rapidly in the shape of a ball. Uchiha Xiao had also heard of this sealing technique before. This technique uses the body as a medium to seal everything around it within the body, but the price is death. The seal of the 4 elephants. This kid. Uchiha Xiao did not dare to neglect this. The chakra on his body moved quickly and he teleported far away in a moment. He looked back and saw a black ball suddenly erupted and spread. Everything that was touched by the black ball was swallowed up by the black ball. The black ball expanded very quickly and soon touched Susan's body. Bah! Finally, the expansion of the black ball stopped, and one of Susan's arms was swallowed by the black ball. Too bad, that Mangekyō Sharingan. Shisui's Mangekyō ability is very good. Uchiha Xiao originally wanted to take it as his own, but he didn't expect Danzo to be so crazy and directly activated his trump card before the Sharingan on him was used up. Uchiha Xiao sighed a little and then regained his mood. After all, for him, no matter how strong the Sharingan is, it belongs to others. The only way is to improve his own strength. Uchiha Xiao controlled Susanna to float in the air, and when he saw that the movement of the 4 elephant seals finally ended, he landed again. He observed everything being devoured around him, and Danzo's secret room was also destroyed to some extent, but thanks to the devouring of the 4 symbols seal, the archives room that was originally hidden deep came into Uchiha Xiao's eyes. He walked in without hesitation. There was a lot of information here, including the information Uchiha Xiao wanted to know most. The current situation of the Uchiha clan and the major and minor events that have happened in the ninja world over the past few decades. Time passed little by little, and Uchiha Xiao had been in the archives room for 2 hours. The mess outside was also covered up by his magic, so there was no need to worry about root ninjas suddenly coming in. Snapped. The file fell to the ground. Uchiha Xiao's face was uncertain, and he didn't know what he was thinking. The breeze blew, and the file on the ground turned to a page, with a few words written on it. Uchiha clan survivors. Uchiha Itachi, Uchiha Sasuke. Chapter 24. Hashirama cells. Please give me flowers. Please give me a review vote. Please give me a collection. The Uchiha clan was massacred. And it was someone from the Uchiha clan who did it. This guy Uchiha Itachi. No matter what the purpose, he is just a beast to attack his own people. Pictures of the past appeared in Uchiha Xiao's mind. Reina. Uchiha Xiao tightly grasped a pair of thin hands. The owner of the hands was a girl. She was lying on the hospital bed and barely smiled. Brother, I don't know if I can still see it. Uchiha welcomes, peace. With that said, Uchiha Reina passed away. Uchiha Xiao held Reina's hand, and the 2 lines of clear tears on her face turned into bright red. At the end of Sengoku, the war between the Uchiha and Senju clan became more and more serious. Countless clan members fought one after another, but all died on the battlefield. Uchiha Xiao's sister, Uchiha Reina, was very sad about this situation. She was determined to bring peace between the 2 races. The original idea of the ninja village appeared in the conversation between Uchiha Reina and Uchiha Xiao. As time goes by, the brothers and sisters grow up, and they are finally able to realize their ambitions. After the efforts of Uchiha Xiao, Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama, the first ninja village Konoha was finally established, and a brief peace finally ushered in between the 2 clans. However, the good times do not last long. Wherever there are people, there will be disputes. Unfortunately, the disputes spread to Uchiha Reina. Uchiha Reina was originally the Jinchuriki of 9 tails. Because of the dispute in the village, someone actually forcibly stripped the 9 tails from Uchiha Reina's body. 9 tails appeared and Konoha was in chaos. All ninjas went to suppress 9 tails, but Uchiha Reina was left alone with her brother. At that time, Uchiha Xiao was by his sister's pillow, watching her death quietly. Uchiha Xiao decided to inherit his sister's legacy, but in his heart he has abandoned the so-called ninja village system. He believes that as long as ninja villages exist in various countries, the war will last forever. Therefore, the only way to eliminate war is for a strong man to emerge and unify the power of the entire ninja world. Only then can the true elimination of war be achieved. Uchiha Xiao, who had such an idea, naturally disagreed with first generation and others, and conflicts soon broke out. He originally wanted to lead the Uchiha tribe to break away from Konoha village. But after tasting the sweetness of peace, not many people in the Uchiha tribe wanted to follow Uchiha Xiao. In the end, Uchiha Xiao died of regret alone in the face of a siege equivalent to that of the entire ninja world. The memories ended here. Uchiha Xiao threw down another history book, which recorded Uchiha Madara's sudden defection. He sighed. Madara, you failed after all, because you are still too weak. Uchiha Xiao stood in front of countless file bags, flicking through each file with his hand in boredom. At this time, his hand stopped, he pulled out a piece of information and started reading. Hashirama's granddaughter, with superb medical skills. Looking at this information, Uchiha Xiao was thoughtful. The next second, Uchiha Xiao turned into an afterimage and rushed to a place. A dark shadow quickly passed by, and the root ninja guarding the door was instantly alert. Who? As soon as he finished speaking, a kunai was inserted straight into the throat of this root ninja. Uchiha Xiao didn't look back. He broke into the root laboratory and killed all the researchers and guardians inside. He refined all the Hashirama cells inside into blood and put it in a bottle. Then with a thought, the controlled ninja next to him activated Kamui, and the 2 disappeared again. Chapter 25. Akatsuki Organization. Please give me flowers. Please give me a review vote. Please give me a collection. In the huge cave, there was a faint light, and a person walked out of the dim scene. This person has a pair of slightly purple eyes, with rings all over the pupils. Slide body technique. As he formed the seal, human body illusion suddenly appeared around him. Pain looked around and found that everyone was here, and then said directly without any nonsense. Let Ju share the information obtained. Everyone looked at Ju, who was holding a piece of pitcher plant. The next second, a dull voice sounded. I got information that just today, Orochimaru invaded Konoha, and both Sarutobi Hiruzen and him were killed. Kisame spoke. It has been 10 years since he left our organization. We decided to kill him out of regret, but it is a pity. He is a good match for the 2 zombie combinations in our organization. Hidan was immediately dissatisfied and shouted at Kisame. What do you mean, you fish man? Gia, I just want to liven up the atmosphere. Kisame replied. Seeing that the situation was getting out of control, Pain immediately came out to organize. Hidan and Kakuzu are our companions, don't talk about them like that. And Kisame also looked unrepentant. It's so rude. At this time, Itachi spoke up and brought the topic back on track. 3rd generation and Orochimaru are both dead. Did they die together? However, Zetsu's answer exceeded his expectations. No, there was someone else who killed them both. As soon as these words came out, everyone who was still watching the excitement and fishing was attracted to the interest. Who can kill Orochimaru and Sarutobi Hiruzen, 2 cage-level experts at the same time? Uchiha Xiao. Deidara spoke up. Are you kidding? Hasn't Uchiha Xiao been dead for decades? Kakuzu, the undead, was not surprised by the appearance of Uchiha Xiao. Is he resurrected? Zetsu shook his head. No, he was brought here by Orochimaru Impure World Reincarnation. As a result, Uchiha Xiao broke away from Orochimaru's control. After hearing this, everyone fell silent and looked at each other. Everyone is the top person in the ninja world, and the legend of Uchiha Xiao is still circulating in the ninja world for decades. Everyone also knows that Uchiha Xiao's strength must be good. The Akatsuki organization fell into a vacuum-like silence. Although Itachi's expression was calm, his heart was already in chaos. As a member of the Uchiha clan and having participated in many high-level meetings within the clan, he knows Uchiha Xiao's strength better than everyone present. At this time, Ju broke out another shocking piece of information, which suddenly detonated the silence of everyone. Oh, there is another piece of information. One Tail was kidnapped by Uchiha Xiao, and Danzo was also killed by him. In an instant, everyone in the organization was no longer quiet and began to whisper among themselves. You know, Danzo, as the Dark of Konoha, not only does all kinds of dirty work for Konoha, but also often intervenes in the black and white of the ninja world. Many of the traitorous ninjas present had more or less seen the root's methods. Zetsu seemed to know the inside story very well and continued to break the news. Although there was a big fight between Danzo and Uchiha Xiao, it is better to say that it was Uchiha Xiao's unilateral crushing of Danzo. Even in the end, Danzo used a very powerful sealing technique, but Uchiha Xiao dodged it. Quote. As he spoke, Zetsu looked at Itachi, trying to see something from Itachi's exposed eyes, but Itachi remained unmoved and seemed not interested in this matter. Ju Boring looked away, but at this moment, Itachi was not at peace inside. In the eyes of him, the supreme person in Konoha, Uchiha Xiao's theories and opinions are undoubtedly the words of a madman. And a powerful madman was domineering in Konoha, which made him worry about Sasuke's safety. At this moment, a steady voice broke the discussion. Since one tail is in Uchiha Xiao's hands, and the goal of our organization is to collect tailed beasts, does that mean that we will eventually have a battle with Uchiha Xiao? Everyone turned their attention to Pain. They wanted to see what the leader of this organization had in mind. Pain felt the eyes of everyone. He did not hesitate and spoke in a very calm tone. The requirements of our organization have always been very simple. We just need tailed beasts. If Uchiha Xiao is willing to hand over the tailed beasts, then we will be at peace with him. If he refuses, then he will be the enemy of our Akatsuki organization. Quote. As soon as these words came out, no one spoke, but the excitement in their eyes all indicated the enthusiasm of this group of people for fighting. Hidan finally couldn't bear the ecstasy in his heart. He raised the sickle in his hand and screamed. Let Lord Evil God taste the blood of the most dangerous ninja.